Hello, everyone.
Hey.
But welcome to our first episode of this, the Between playtest with Wes from Comfort Karen. Hello, Wes. Thank you so much for joining us and for agreeing to do this little terror into Victorian London for us. Just before we go into introductions, we also have Aman from the Infinite Tavern. Aman, thank you for joining us again. I'm excited to see
Absolutely.
where our adventure takes us. And
Likewise.
over to you, Wes, to take it away.
Wanted to say thank you all for having me here. I'm honored, truly. And as soon as I was made aware, Jason reached out to me and said, "Would you be willing to do this?" I said yes instantly. I was like, wait, what day? And he was like, "We're gonna figure it out." And I was like, "Okay, cool, awesome." I'm very stoked to be here. I love what y'all are doing around here at TPK. Also, Amon, congratulations for the Crit Awards. That's a
Thank you
big,
so
big
much.
deal. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, of course, of course. Very happy to see that win. It brought a big smile to my face. But yeah, my name is Wes. Wes Franks. My pronouns are they, them. I'm with Carrion Comfort at Comfort Carrion on Twitter and all the other social medias. I'm also the Zine Fiend for Zine of RPG Zine of the Month Club with +1 EXP. And I would like to say that I'm a fiend for the between. I love this game so much. I discovered Brindlewood Bay a long time ago when it first was like dropped. And it really just kind of changed my whole brain of how we could do TTRPGs, and I could never find anybody to play it with me. And then the Between was like dropped, and I love Penny Dreadful. I love Victorian London. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is one of my favorite Assassin's Creed game. It's not the best one, people would say, but it's my favorite one. As a consummate Final Fantasy VIII lover, it is not the best, but I love it. And so I love the vibe and I love the history and the atmosphere, and I'm so happy to be able to share that with you. So yeah, that's my intro and everything. Do we want to go ahead? I've got a little list of things that we do for the start, but do we want to go ahead and go around the table and introduce ourselves and, just kind of let people know who we are, and then we can dive right on in.
Let's go from the top row, Monica.
Excellent.
Okay, so again, introducing myself. I have done this before so many times, and I'm stuck. Okay, sorry. So yeah, hi, my name is Monica, and people know me as Mon in the D&D circle. I'm playing as Miss Evans in the Between, and I'm basically quite a fan of all kind of Victorian stuff, and not just Victorian stuff. I really like British dramas as well, so I'm just like, that's why I chose Miss Evans to play as. And also I made the art that you just saw a minute ago, so that's me. So yeah, let's move on to Kush.
May I add that Mon is the only person I know who knows the difference between Victorian and Elizabethan. To me, it's all the same. Hi, I'm Kush. You already know me. I'm playing Theodore, a legacy character, but you'll get to know about my character in the game. So let's go, Kumi.
Hello, I am Kumi. I'm also called Shema, but I think Kumi is the more recognizable name in the TTRPG space. Today I am playing, if I had to go by playbook, it is a vessel, and my character is called Kala Kumari, and she's quite delightful. She also has a little cat called Jimothy. And Jimothy is right now here with me. If you see his tail pop up at any time in the stream, it's because he's woken up and has decided to join us. But right now he's having a small sleep, and I am excited to do some spiritual searching this episode. Over to you, Aman.
Hello, I am Aman. I go by Aman HK, and I am a podcast producer, host, and game master for the Infinite Tavern. Also working with Project Dastan very recently. Very recently also won a Creative Award, so I'm still getting to grips with it. I have to add it to my CV. And I am excited to be here to play this wonderful game, wonderful, beautiful, horrific, gruesome. I love it. I want all of it. And I'm playing Ishaq Al-Shirazi, the undeniable. And you don't need to know a lot about him. He's undeniable, irresistible, irrevocable, and just a lovely person.
Excellent, excellent. And might I say, we said this during our session one, but I love the spread of playbooks that we have here. Undeniable, a vessel, a legacy with a fat totem supporting the legacy. It's such a interesting spread, and I can't wait to see how this all plays out. So what are we doing? What is this game that we're playing? We've gone through our introduction and everything. Let's go through a quick CATS, which is our concept, aim, tone, and subject matter for the audience here. This is going to present essentially expectations of how the game is going to proceed, and it kind of gets a way for me to get accustomed to all of you, but also to a lot of the audience out there as well. So, the concept of The Between is a tabletop role-playing game about a group of mysterious monster hunters in Victorian-era London. These hunters learn about various monstrous threats in the city and conduct investigations or hunts in order to neutralize them. Over time, they become aware of the plans of a criminal mastermind who is pulling the strings behind the scenes. The hunters will eventually be forced to confront this criminal mastermind in order to save Queen and country. The Between is directly inspired by TV show Penny Dreadful, but also takes inspiration from British horror classics, the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, pulp-era media, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and From Hell. The game's mechanics are based on Apocalypse World and Brindlewood Bay, so that means we'll be utilizing a 2 to 3 d6 dice system. And you don't need to know anything about those two games before we play. Our aim as players, and the aim of the characters in the story, is to keep London safe by investigating monstrous threats and learning how to stop them. Our aim specifically is to learn more about these characters' mysterious pasts, as well as to paint a vivid picture of our version of Victorian-era London, a responsibility that all of us share, not just myself in the keeper chair. The aims for today's sessions are for us to introduce our characters, to learn the basics of how the game works by playing it, and then we're going to have a debrief at the end, a very quick one. The tone of The Between is dark, mysterious, and sensual. A little bit of levity or humor from time to time is absolutely okay, but we always strive to return to that dark, brooding place the characters exist in. Think of it much like London itself, very foggy, rainy, overcast. Even on sunny days, there's a bit of a dark hue over everything. Subject matter within this game contains murder, cannibalism, body horror, dark sexual themes, erotic sensuality, threats to animals and children, foul language, blasphemy, witchcraft, and defiling graves and corpses that come up frequently but might not necessarily come up in our game. We'll talk about our safety tools in just a moment, but in the interest of setting expectations right now, you should know that this game deals with dark and intense subject matter, and that's not just for us. That is for the audience at home. We love you all for watching and taking part, but if that's something that you're like, this is kind of a little bit too much for me during this time of day, then go ahead and maybe just mute the tab, leave us open so we can have a lurker here and there, and then come back to us later when you're in the mood. Any questions from y'all on that? Awesome.
No, I'm good.
So excited.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to go quickly through our safety tools that we have available. I'm going to go over our lines and veils and highlights for this session in a little bit, but first I'm going to let the audience know that we have decided about this during session 0. We're going to be utilizing the open door policy, so if at any point there's any emergency or any uncomfortability or anything like that, there's an opportunity that you can just step away from the table and you don't have to return, and you can just get in contact with us later. There's also an X card in play, so at any point they can private message me. They can hit me in our chat over here in the channel. They can also hit an X on the YouTube. They can hold up an X like this. They can hold up an X like this, like this. There's so many ways that you can do that. I like to utilize these little cards where green means go. It also has a yes for a check mark. There's also a yellow for slow it down a little bit. And then there's also a red for, this one's upside down, for stop. So those kind of things. You don't have to necessarily use those, but if that's something that you're like, oh wow, I've never thought of that before, feel free to take that idea. It was not my idea. I learned it from some great people in the past. Any questions about those tools? Sick. Awesome. Let's talk about our lines, veils, and highlights. Lines are things that we will not be touching in the game at all. These are things that we're not comfortable with going over in our game, and so these are themes that I will not be presenting, and we should feel that we should not be bringing these forward as well. Veils are things that we can approach with caution. They're things that we're okay with discussing, but let's approach them with a sense of respect and nuance and trepidation, just to make sure that everybody is comfortable. Check-ins might be utilized during that. Then we have things that are like ask first. These are like, I'm cool with it, but just give me a heads up before we roll into it because I don't want to get caught off guard. And then we have my favorite part, the highlights, the things that we desperately want to see in this game and the themes that we want to pursue. So I'm going to be going over each of these. We have a tab on our character keeper that was lovingly and wonderfully crafted by Arctosaur, Ben Bond. So do shout out Ben Bond and Arctosaur for making this wonderful character keeper. You can find that and all of the other assets for the Gauntlet games and Carver Riddlewood games on our website. We have them linked. Also, you can hop on the Discord and say hey, and people will just have those links ready to go. So our lines for this game are sexual assault, sexual violence, homophobia, transphobia, suicide, torture, dead babies, orphaning children, and young creatures. I've taken a look over these things, and I've found the threat that we're doing, which I'll talk about in a little bit, that fits those perfectly, so we won't even have to come across those. Then we have our veils. We have bullying, harm to children, harm to pet, domestic animals, harm to pregnant people, harm to wild animals, PC betrayal, racism, sexism, and slavery. Then we have our ask firsts, intimate partner violence, mind control, and sexual content. And then we have our highlights. Alcoholism, body horror, drug abuse, graphic injuries and gore, stalking. We have also have romance consent in play. So we have different levels of that. I'm not going to say specifically who, because we can see it, but just for the nature know that we are utilizing that. It comes included on that character keeper that we are utilizing. It's either yes, ask for no, or ask first. And we've got a really good set. So just know that if romance does show up in these two sessions, that we're all for it. Don't be concerned. Don't think anything about that. Awesome. Okay. Any questions about those?
Nope.
Oh, we're just moving right along.
I'm waiting to see who gets stalked first. So.
Absolutely. So I want to share a few more details about the setting. We have already created characters, and we've gone through parts of the character creation, but I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to introduce their characters in ways that we might see them in a TV series before we dive right into the Creature of Cremorne Gardens. But these characters that they're playing are hunters. They're the current residents of a place called Hargrave House. Hargrave House is a mansion on Belgrave Square in London. The people who live there share the common goal of defending the city from whatever dark forces are lurking in its shadows, be it monster or murderer or something more. They operate outside official channels, frequently tackling cases that Scotland Yard can't or will not. Importantly, Hargrave House existed long before the characters took up residence there, and previous residents were doing the same work. By the time we join these characters, they have already been living and working together for a time. We don't dwell on how they came to live at Hargrave House, nor do we care about who owns or funds the place. We may learn more about these things in the future, but for now, Hargrave House just is. Another thing to know is that these characters are to remain mysterious. We should avoid talking about their pasts, both in and out of character, unless we are prompted to do so by the game's rules. I've already had somebody send me a very detailed backstory, and I get to know. I'm excited, and I love it. It's great. But you, the audience, and the players get to be in the audience and wait for the curtain to rise on those things first. There are game rules that will prompt that. The Janus mask, to be specifically. The reason we do that is because we want to learn about these characters as we play. It's a little bit like watching a good TV show. We don't learn everything about the characters at once. The information is given to us in pieces at dramatically impactful moments in the story, often through the use of flashback or dramatic irony. With that said, I am going to give you a quick summary of each playbooks that we have in front of us. And when I bring it up, I'm going to key it up and everything. And then you're going to kind of give us a description of how your character looks, what their name is again, a little bit of a vibe for them, and then we'll move on to the next character as we see each of our hunters getting ready for the day. First, we start at a door. Simple wooden, a brass knob, no filigree, nothing fancy. The camera moves past as the door opens, and we see our factotum, Miss Evans. Miss Evans, you had a life before you entered the service of your employer, but the details of that life are unimportant. All that matters now is that the person you serve in Hargrave House, where you will grow ancient and die if you're lucky. More likely your employer's colleagues, these hunters, will be the end of you. Overturning things that should remain hidden and goading on terrors that dwell in dark places. You'll do your best to help them, of course, to keep them alive, because without them, what are you really? As the camera moves in, feel free to describe for us what this room looks like. What is Miss Evans' personal quarters like? What are some of the items that we see? And what does Miss Evans herself look like to us, the audience?
So basically, you see Miss Evans. She's in her room. There is nothing much. It's just a whitewashed room with just a bed in between in the area and a almirah in the corner. And you can see that she just got ready. It's 6 a.m, and she's sure nobody in the house might have woken up. And as in the service of these people, she's living in the servant quarters of the house Hargraves. And you can see that she's just getting ready. She's making sure that not even a single hair strand of her hair is like getting out. She have to be useful and efficient. And after wearing her clothes, which is completely black, as she looks like a warden or a governess of the house. And you can see there is a set of key that she just takes and kind of tag it on her waist. And she starts to walk, and you can hear the tap on the floor, tap, 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 as she's walking. And you can hear the clang of the key as well. And as she walks, she closes the door, she go out, and she walks downstairs in the area where other people are working, making sure that no any other servant is upstairs. And she's telling everyone to do their job correctly because the people in the house are going to wake up soon. And she just like pointing towards thing and like putting her finger on a area and seeing if there is a dust. And the moment she sees something wrong, she just calling out, "You, Athel, come here. This is not clean. Clean it right now. You know the people are going to be here soon." And as she say this, she just like walks around the kitchen. "Are we done with the food? I think the food is not done yet. Come on, chop, chop. We have to finish it. They're going to wake up soon. They need the newspaper." And she's just like screaming these things to the people around her. And this is how her morning starts. She doesn't even think about herself, but the people in the house.
And as soon as you're thinking about that, and maybe a nice bit of brandy that you have, that you might allow yourself later in the day, a bell tinkles, ringing almost violently. And you know exactly that bell, the tone of it, exactly what string that bell's attached to, and you gather your things and you open your door and make your way out. The camera moving past you down through these halls where we see portraits of previous occupants. We don't have enough time to focus on them, but we might see maybe a traveler to a far-off land with tiny people, or we might see somebody that's completely invisible wrapped in bandages. It does not matter. As we focus on a door, scratched, gnawed, a little bit rough around the edges. As it opens, inside, we see a room, probably wider, more expansive than the one that we were just in of Miss Evans. And standing inside, we see the legacy. Hargrave House is filled with monster hunters, but you're the only one who was born to do it. Your parents, and their parents before them have known one thing: reveling in the destruction of ungodly beasts and carnivorous terrors. Your family name has been whispered in secret meetings for generations, passed along to those in need of your hereditary talents. You were taught how to hold a blade when you were a child, but you decided that that was not the tool for you. You have your own special tool that we will come to recognize soon. You have completed your first hunt not many years after that moment. Your knowledge of combat and trappings is unparalleled, but you've grown disillusioned with your heritage. You want to be more than just another entry in a long ledger of death. You want out, but you have one last score to settle first. A curse of sorts. A beast that's haunted you and your family for as long as anyone can remember. Prepare to say your family's vow. And maybe that's what we do hear you uttering to yourself as you are preparing for your day. Theodore, can you please describe to us how Theodore looks and what the room looks like, and what is Theodore's morning preparations for the hunt?
Theodore is a tall, skinny, malnutrition looking man. You see his bones trying to escape his skin, almost. He has long, dirty blonde hair that falls on his face very often. On his face itself, you see dark, black under-eye bags, and above them, blue, vacant, hollow eyes. He wears a dark maroon burgundy coat, and it is 6 a.m. And as Mr. Evans pointed out, no one has woken up, but Theodore is awake. But he hasn't woken up because he didn't sleep. He does not like to sleep, not in the night especially, as that is when all the horrors come back to him. Not the monsters, but all the horrors, all the sins that he has done in his life. And that's why he has these dark, baggy eyes. As Miss Evans is walking towards his room, there is a slight music in the air, a guitar, and when she opens, the music stops. As Theodore takes a cigarette, takes a drag, a big drag, lets it go, breathes out, and then starts playing the guitar again.
Perfect. Let's have a bit of an interaction. As a moment ago you went ahead to prepare for getting ready for your breakfast, and you just instinctually rang the bell as Miss Evans makes her way into the room.
Good day, Miss Evans.
The usual. Eggs, but that doesn't matter. I know you won't eat. Like always.
Yeah, just get me some tea and some brandy.
We are... the brandy, okay. We are quite low on brandy right now. But I'll find something for you.
And could you find my dome? I've been looking for it. And it's It's not in its usual spot.
Of course, it is not. It was inside your coat. I put your coat in the laundry and brought your tome here. And she basically kind of carries it with her. It was kind of sort of hidden behind and just like shows you. You are quite bad with keeping your stuff in places, Master Inglewood. You should take care of your things, especially things like these.
Savings, where would I be?
I'm sure you would have been fine without me.
So you say.
Excellent. And with that, the camera pulls back from this diorama inside the dollhouse we call Hargrave House, and we move down to another door. One with brilliant carvings into the frame, maybe a bit of gold trim in the filigree that makes the inset of the different panels within the wood of the door itself, and an etched gold knob with the stylish, one might even say branding, if not just the monogram of the person that dwells within it. The undeniable. As the door opens, we are not only brillianced too much a little bit by what is inside, but also by the room itself. Our undeniable here, you have always been the most beautiful person in the room. Your looks have opened doors for you as long as you can remember. All the money and material things anyone could ever want has been laid at your feet. Artists have found inspiration in the brightness of your eyes, the delicate curve of your cheekbones, the plump softness of your lips. One such artistic work, a masterwork, rises above them all, for it captures the essence of you. It is quite simply more you than you. Lately, people sacrifice everything to be near you, to please you, and if they're lucky, to touch you. But what do you do when you get bored with being one of the gods? Maybe we might find this out in this couple of sessions, but for now, as you're preparing yourself, getting ready, may you take some time to describe to us what visage we are staring upon today. And maybe is the masterwork in the room with us, or if not, that's fine, it can be kept someplace else secure. But describe the room as well.
The first thing that anybody would see is how full the room is. Not full of things that the person needs, but full of things that people have gifted towards him. Things that are large, that are small, that are pieces of clothing, that are pieces of their own heritage. You see stacks of albums, you see stacks of monies, you see someone's lingerie like hanging somewhere, almost like a gift. You see some questionable things as well, things of a sexual nature, things which are embroidered in gold, a variety of things. You see toys literally made out of gold and silver, anything that people offer up to their gods so that they have a chance to have a communion with them. You see Ishaq al-Shirazi is currently standing in front of about a 6 feet tall mirror from a floor mirror, and they are picking up pieces of clothing and thinking of what goes with what, what's the flavor for the day. They take a little bit of they take some stockings and just measure it against their like they're half naked, by the way. They measure it against the leg to see, does this go with the suit? Nah, it does not. In the end, they end up choosing a almost a velvetish purple corduroy trousers and pair it with a simple ruffled shirt. And to top it off, they wear these sheer gloves because they don't like to touch things, but they still want people to admire their hand itself. Their eyes fall on a piece of a musical box uh, that is sitting on top of a desk which was another gift. There's a piece of music playing, the first few notes of his masterpiece. The the musical box itself was a gift. I close it almost aggressively. It's not complete, but it always gives me inspiration. And I close it and I just walk out of the door, and I just, servants, please close the lights, please close the blinds, and do not touch anything. And I walk out of the room.
Perfect. With a clap and a swirl, we follow that brilliant display of beauty and owning one's space down the hall to a darker corridor, a place where shadows even wish they could not linger, but they must, for that is their nature. That is where they belong. That is where they are being utilized. A door with dark wood and a more utility over beauty styled knob that opens as we step into this room. And before we get the descriptions of it and its inhabitant, we must know that our vessel, for as long as you can remember, dark entities have been near. They lurk just inside your peripheral vision, just at the mirror's edge. When you close your eyes, you can actually feel them. Their cold breath, their oily touch, an occasional feverish embrace. They want to be inside you. They want to rub against your guts and deposit their power. Others are drawn to you as well. Those who would use you to master these dark things in order to serve their own agenda. Some of these interlopers, these usurpers, can be of use, such as the hunters with whom you share a home. Others, like the Coven, are best avoided. In either case, you are no one's object, tool, or weapon. You are no mere bystander. Your fate is yours to shape.
As the camera closes into the doorknob, it seems to open without a hand clutching at it. As it zooms in, you look into quite a sparse room. There isn't too much over there. The colors seem dull enough, and focuses on a young woman by a window. There's bathing in the sunlight is she and her cat. Now, as Sir Jimothy sleeps luxuriously on the desk and, sprawls his paws out, Kala, the one that we're focusing on, reaches out and starts plucking small white hairs off her clothing. Her clothing itself seems to be a little out of fashion, maybe a little outdated. It seems to be a sailor uniform of sorts, the darkest navy possible, but it seems to have been bleached terribly because it seems splotched at certain places, almost graying in a way that is begging for her to fade with it. She has a little sailor's hat on as well, and a little red scarf. Somehow it seems in this room, in this little wooden den of sorts, that she seems separate, cosplaying a sort of part that was meant to be at sea, or at least by the beach, not in the middle of town in Hargrave's house. But as she sits out there and plucks off the little hairs of Jimothy, she takes them and fashions them into a little fluffy mouse. She sings to herself as she does so. The tune, for anyone who's ventured near Shark's room would know, is the same tune that their music box plays. She sings it pleasantly enough and then cracks almost at the end and says, do you feel almost like the music, it seems to be fading away? I wonder the amount of times that a shark stares at the mirror, admires their beauty. Are they not blinded by it themselves? And every day, we receive new flowers, we receive new presents. Do they see them fade as well, these presents given to them? Do they feel that one day they could also be spoiled by age? I wonder. And she cuddles little Jimothy and pushes that little woolen mouse towards him. He doesn't seem very interested, more annoyed that the one he's with has disturbed his silence. But as he reaches out a paw and pushes this mouse over the table, she goes, now, into violence even while you're resting, Jimothy. Is this how everyone that you get to greet me treats me like? The other two in the house as well. Last night, I heard Sir Theo spend the whole night walking up and down his room. How many nights has it been now? And she scratches another line into her table. It's been awfully long to go without any sleep. He tries to sleep and escape from the monsters inside. But what monsters might be festering in his mind? Oh, also, spotted something with Miss Evans. Did you see that handkerchief she carries around always? It dropped out of her grasp. And if you had to look closely enough, I did see a spot from the spotless Miss Evans. How ridiculous. And then she just pauses for a second and looks behind her, the sunlight shining her dual-colored eyes, one blue, one yellow. And when Jimothy looks up to yawn as well, he shares the same colors. But as she looks back, she says, I wish you would talk more during the day. Is the sunlight so horrendous to you that you wouldn't like to come out to speak to me? You do enjoy spending all your time here when it's dark and silent and there's no one else to take my thoughts away from anyone but you. And yet, you let me be when the sun is up, but it's so boring. Who wants to be able to see everything? It's so much more delicious in the dark. Oh, well, I did hear that the others spoke about a hunt we were supposed to do today. Who do you think we'll meet? Do you think it's another wolfman? Or someone that craves blood? Or maybe someone lost in the in-between? I wonder. Okay, do you think the latest Penny Dreadfuls come in? I must go and check. Jimmy, come with me. And he yawns and makes a fuss and tries to escape her grasp, but then settles on her shoulders. And she's like, now, don't complain. You know, it's always the most fun when you're with me. And she exits the room and starts to look for someone to talk to.
Perfect. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you would immediately see a shark just strutting about and just sort of looking around and just seeing if anybody is around there or not. And I think by the time you see yourself walk out, you see a servant of the house just scuttle out of the room.
Oh,
just correcting themselves and just skittering out of the room.
Oh my God, Another victim to a tantrum. So much fun right in the morning. And she rushes over and looks inside. Ishak, how are you, dear? Has the morning been well to you? I feel a small death each time I see your face. How do you allow yourself to walk around looking as beautiful as you do?
Kala, my dear, you should really try being a little quieter in the day.
Oh, I will whisper.
Yeah, please. Your talks with the cat disturb me. I can hear them through the walls while I'm planning.
Oh, Jimothy's gotten a little unsettled, you know. There's been a new cat in the area, and he's taken a little bit of a liking to her. And I do believe it's this heat, or a different sort of heat for them at least.
You might want to maybe try using the knife I gave you.
Not on poor defenseless things. Come on, Ishak. There are other beauties, even though they don't match yours.
Yes, they all fade away.
Do you ever
Try
worry?
being a bit... I don't. To be honest, my dear, you should try being a little opaque sometimes.
Am I being paler than usual? I'm so worried that I'm so uninteresting that I might just fade away.
It's not about that you're uninteresting. It's...
Do I come
Well,
off as
like-
too much?
You do have too much. I don't know what it is about you, and you just see like Ishak just very casually just take a step away. But I'd rather, you know, I enjoy my times elsewhere
Oh,
sometimes.
I will take your advice to heed, Ishak. You do know that I have been having troubles in the romance department. And though we have been to many a ball, it's always been invites to you. Not that I mind, it's a great way to meet new people and to get out in the dark. But I wish I had the same sort of charisma that you do.
Well, I might bless you in your next life.
First a switchblade and now luck as well. I am fated to be great.
Come on, shall we have a bit of brandy this morning?
Brandy in
Together.
the morning, brandy and breakfast. Now that sounds wonderful. Do you think that Theodore would partake as well? It could do to give him a bit of ease to the mind, if you know what I mean.
If you insist, my dear. I have a few bottles stashed up in my room. Angelica, dear, and he just like smiles like a grin, and you see like the familiar clothing of the servant just like come in.
Perfect. And with the entrance of servants and the collection of breakfast, we pull back from the scene a little bit for a reminder as a title card comes up showing the Between, and then our episode title, The Creature of Cremorne Gardens. A reminder that even though this game is set in a historical time period, we aren't going to dwell on historical accuracy. We will do our best to represent the technology and culture of the era, but we're going to get some things wrong every now and then, and that's okay. I'd also like to point out that during this time period, people with marginalized identities would likely have been treated very poorly in society. We're going to choose to ignore that part of history in its own way. In the world of Between, things like race, nationality, gender, ethnicity, sexuality, disability, and neurodivergence are not a social barrier. That does not mean that there's themes that we might not touch on in our story, but there are things that are not going to prohibit us from play. And with that, let's dive in. And I'll have you note that your game of the Between might not play like this. We are doing an actual play, so we've taken some stylized differences with the opening. But There have been ways that our players have showcased some of the mechanics that come with character creation, including choosing your vice, choosing your name, as well as detailing some of the personal items that go into your personal quarters during character creation. There are some moves that they have chosen as well that are special to each of their playbooks, and we all have moves that we can all tap into. But these special moves we will touch on when they come up in play, and we'll take time to describe what they are and what they do. Without further ado, kick off. Hargrave House is an old Gothic revival-style building. It stands out from its neighbors on Belgrave Square, which are done in the more conventional classical style. Hargrave House is also different because it's not just a residence, but a place of work. Dark work. And some more of that dark work has just now landed on their doorstep. The Creature of Cremorne Gardens. That ever-reliable rag, the Illustrated Police News, has lately been carrying stories about the so-called Creature of Cremorne Gardens, sometimes called the Creature of Chelsea Harbour, and more rarely, the Creature of Cheyne Walk. The creature, described as a fish-like thing or a fish-man, has been terrorizing pleasure-seekers from the shadows, giving a fright when glimpsed skulking about, but rarely making direct contact. Men and women alike have been lured to the end of a nearby pier by a strange song while promenading, though with no memory of how they got there once the song spell ended. All of this could easily be chalked up to hysteria, or perhaps some elaborate hoax by someone who resents Cremorne Gardens, if not for a physical attack upon a young couple, Simon Piedmont and Beulah Thrum. Mr. Piedmont and Miss Thrum described how the creature leapt at them from a crouched position like a cat and tore at Miss Thrum's coat. Scotland Yard is currently investigating, but they have developed no leads. Miss Evans, you have a connection to Thomas Simpson, who is the proprietor of Cremorne Gardens, having worked there one summer before. What was your job, and what did you do to lose it?
Okay. So I worked with Mr. Thompson as a gardener. I was the assistant gardener. He was supposed to give me his position soon, as he was going to retire from his position. But I realized that his ways were not right. He was very bad at his work, and I told him many times that some of the garden is not looking very good. Some of the flowers beds are like being kept really bad. There are insects being like everywhere in the leaves, and like I told him to, kind of manage it properly. I also showed him how to create an inventory, but all the time I asked him to do something, he was just, he was not liking it. He was not liking how I was sort of taking over his authority. So eventually he told me to, that I was not suited for the job. And I took it well, and I got a much better job now in the Hargrave House.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mayhaps he will be a bit more cordial to you if your paths shall cross. Now, the Creature of Cremorne Gardens, as well as all of the threats within the Between, have questions and opportunities. Questions are things that are asked of us, the players, that we must collect clues to track down and utilize those clues to answer so that we may progress. The Creature of Cremorne Gardens has a threshold question, which means that this question must be answered before we can move on to the rest of the threat. That question is the creature real or is it a hoax? It has a complexity of 4. which means that you need at least 2 clues to answer the question at a -2. Or if you collect 4, then it'll be the question. We can answer the question and roll the dice to determine if we're correct at a completely normal roll. But any clues that you gather afterwards that you utilize will give a bonus to our theorize roll. Now, the questions afterwards, depending on if we have determined if it's real or is a hoax, will have certain opportunities with them that we may answer as well. There are things within this game called the Janus masks. We have the masks of the past, which are utilized to tell the backstory of our characters, and the masks of the future. These are things that affect our character sheets, our ability scores, but also they affect the world around us as we experience them. These masks can be put on or marked to bump your roll up from its normal, whatever you rolled, to the next success level. So, if you rolled, let's say, a 4, which is a failure, which means bad things could potentially happen to your character, and you don't want those bad things to happen, including death, maiming, or anything like that, then you can choose to put on a mask, and that will bump your success level up to the next level, which is a 7 to 9, a mixed success. And so on and so forth. That does not include for our theorize roll, though, unless all of us choose to put on a mask. Most threats have their own special mask. And this one, for this threat, is the Mask of Revelry. This is available to all of you to mark, but only one of you can mark it one time. The Mask of Revelry's prompt is, each hunter narrates a flashback to the last truly fun day they had. So a nice little backstory thing that could be far backstory, or it could be something that happened even that morning. Any questions with that?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to ask, let's go ahead and have a scene in a handsome carriage as the 4 of you are making your way to the Cremorne Gardens area. And from there, you can choose to split up. There are different locations made available. Just kind of let me know as we arrive. I'm going to start setting up some more of our threat stuff behind the scenes, so you don't think that I'm just throwing you into the deep end. And let's get some character connections, some scene setting, and then I'll hop in at an appropriate moment, and I'll get us kicked off with some investigating. We are in our day phase. It is during the day, so that means that the day phase belongs to you. So things won't be as complicated for you. The sun, as much as the sun as London can have, shall shine upon you and your actions. But know that when we go to the night phase, or if you do something in the dark, or something that has a vibe of being a little bit more shadowed, that will be a night move, into which the night belongs to me. And I manipulate the events that happen, and I will come at your characters with a little bit more vigor than I would during the day. So, go ahead. We're in a handsome carriage. I imagine that our benefactor, as well as our undeniable Ishak, has made sure that the most splendid carriage would be made available for the hunters as they make their way to Cremorne Garden.
Absolutely, and Ashok, I am by the window itself, and I'm just peeking out through the window, and I'm trying to see if there's people who look like they are sick or hungry or something, like life is draining away from them. I'm just...
You said Theodore.
Theodore's exactly that. Oh, Theo.
Theodore is there.
Did you is this the creature that we're going after today? And she shows like the latest newspaper, today's morning news. And she says, oh my gosh, a fish man? I don't think I've ever come across a creature from the depths before.
Yeah, they're awfully smelly.
Really?
Paint.
Do you think they carry with them a collection of perfumes to ensure that no one feels like they're at the fish market? How else do they lure people to them?
I don't think they lure people. They they sprint at people.
Miss Evans, did you not work at the gardens at one point? Was growing seaweed of a fashion as well there?
Oh, well, I don't remember. I told them to do changes, but they didn't like those. They might be growing seaweeds now. I have no idea, but yeah, that was a god awful garden, honestly. And fishes, I think there might be fishes, crocodiles, and number of things that I don't even know about. So,
Oh, it brings a completely new connotation to the term. There's more fish at sea. And do you think that's just like a call, maybe, to tell people that if you are seeking pleasure, go to the gardens and you will find some?
Ishak's like ears perk up, like,
Ishak, have you ever shaken a bush or two over there at the gardens? I must know.
Kala, do you realize how many bushes have been shook in this city?
I think you would pride yourself in shaking a tree too.
I've shook the earth.
What are you
It's
looking at so absent-mindedly outside? Are you not excited for a potential monster that we're meeting? We might meet, or maybe to see a battle against Ishak al-Shirazi and the fishman. Who would win advances more?
You see my face just turn from like mild amusement to anger. You dare bloody think a goddamn fish person, if they even exist in the first place, stand up against me?
Well, it would
We
be...
can't hold a fucking feather to what I have.
If we had to
Or a
see...
snail.
A scale? Oh, interesting. But if we had to put a tally to it, broken hearts, broken bodies, do you think you win over this? She shows the paper again. So many missing, so many dead. Would your tally overcome this one?
The newspapers are missing a few. They need a few extra digits to encompass. Whatever.
So
Anyway,
scandalous.
the more this fish thing exists, or well, I would have more people to visit in the hospital, I guess. That would be fun.
They do say love is the best drug.
I would say drugs are the best drugs.
Oh, Theodore,
Oh,
have you
Theo's
been
dead.
indulging now without sharing with any of us?
Oh, would you like some?
Yes. Just a
I take
little.
out a syringe from my pocket.
Oh, a needles. Drawing blood? You must ask permission first.
Oh no, this goes inside you.
Oh. Well, I've had a lot of things wanting to go inside me. Oh, well, this is one I give full permission to. And she sticks out her arm.
Yeah.
And in the moment, as the arm is sticked out, and you go to reach out and poke and prick, just a little bit as an experience, you feel the carriage shudder to a stop.
Oh, that is close.
Just-
As close to my heart almost. Whew. The thrill, I almost feel the drug in me already.
There's a knock on the carriage door as it is opened, and you can see there is a attendant that has set steps down and is holding out a gloved hand.
Maybe later, Theodore. when you're not able to sleep.
Yeah, that works. What does this guy want, Miss Evans?
The carriage stops. We might need to get down, and I hope we don't become part of those digits that are there in the newspaper. So make sure to do your jobs properly. And
Don't worry, not. It's a fish, and we have a cat.
and you see she kind of rolls her eyes, and you realize she trusts you the least out of all four. And she gets down first, and she basically kind of not scout. She stays near the carriage, but kind of look around, and then she kind of knock the gate, and then it's a signal that you can get down now.
Okay, I
Perfect.
get down.
As you're assisted, or you might not even need assistance, you all begin to step out as you do hear the attendant say, Cremorne Gardens, enjoy your time about. As the camera pans up and wide across, and what we see is a pleasure garden. It's a long, sweeping area of earth and grass and trees and flowers and plants that have a series of stops along the way. There's a dancing platform in the distance where you can see there are people that hear the sounds of shoes scuffing a floor, the sound of music drifting over the air. You can hear the crashing of bowling balls as there's an American bowling saloon, American in quotation marks, a very raucous area where you can hear the sound of a barrel piano cranking. And then a banqueting hall, a promenade, off in the distance there's a hedge maze, and nestled right alongside the edge of all of this, the water of the Thames, brown and murky and slightly smelly, being cut through, or is cutting through all of this with the Shane Walk, which goes right alongside it, and a pier off in the distance, some fog nestling on it, a green light cutting through. Cremorne Gardens is available for all of you to now explore and to investigate, come across certain people of interest, or just observe. It is your choice. Or you might not do either. You might just go ahead and decide to partake in the pleasant afternoon, not even knowing if this is a threat to be worried about. I do want to remind you that there's the proprietor, Thomas Simpson, that you can attempt to locate. There's also the young lovers who were attacked by the creature, or by the so-called creature, Simon Piedmont and Beulah Thrum. And there are other side characters lurking about, waiting to stumble across you, but we'll get to those in an appropriate manner. So with that, let's go ahead and go around, and let's decide what we're all going to be doing during this day. And feel free to discuss amongst yourselves how you want to. You can split the party if you want to. It does not matter. There will be traps and tricks ready for you, regardless if you're together or alone.
I think I might find Mr. Simpson because, again, I know him from before. I'm quite sure that he might not like to talk to me. So
He might like to talk to me.
yeah, so I can take a shot, and he can use his charisma again to talk to him, and we can go there. But if you have something else to do, you can do that.
Perfect. Great start.
I would, like I said, I would accompany Miss Evans. Almost uninterested in the whole mystery itself, as this is just another day, another Tuesday, or whatever day it is, to pass the time. Another one who'll fawn at my feet, another person to fawn at my feet. Maybe I'll get some interesting hedge cuttings made in my likeness over here. Maybe I can come admire those later. Maybe, bring some company or two later if I need to. So this is just to get something out of this. So like, please continue, Miss Evans.
Sure. And yeah, we basically starts to stride, but yeah, with Kala and Theodore, you can tell what
Yeah.
you might be doing.
So you mentioned this is a fish monster. Is there a lake or a pond in this garden?
There's the river alongside that you have like the full like banks of it. It's wide across that you can see, and you can see the other side of the city, dwelling all the city streets and everything, as the Thames just cutting right through the city itself.
And is there like a barrier, or like there must be like a heavy barrier or something to divide between
The gardens rests above the river. So there is a bank down below. There is a railing that you can see, though. Yeah, and then that railing does stop when there are short piers along the edge of the river. So people that are on boats, that are traveling by boat, not necessarily by carriage, can stop and enjoy the gardens as well.
Okay.
So my training dictates I eliminate threats from the source. So I'm going to break away from the rest of the group.
Okay.
And go towards the back.
Perfect.
Try to look for a break in the fence, maybe, or a way for a fish monster to climb up unnoticed or something like that.
Perfect. So we've got the bank, and then we've got the tracking down Mr. Simpson. What do we have for our friend, the vessel, Kala?
So Kala is going to first turn around, and she's filled with questions, and she looks towards the other hunters and realized that she's alone. Oh well.
Just split off.
Oh well, it happens enough times. And then she's like, I'm always glad to have you, Timothy, Jimothy. And like, she says, now, Jimothy, I know that the creature that we're seeking is something that we both would fancy, like fish, man. Seems to be a wonderful combination. But Nana, don't compete with me if they seem a little more delicious to you or me. I don't want to fight with you. But if, we need to see who eats whom. But that's a tale for later. Now, and Kala starts to look around. She takes a sniff in the air, trying to find any salt in it. Maybe some pond water even. And she thinks, now, I wonder what that couple was up to right before this creature found them. Creature, such a terrible word, isn't it? Now, when you had to call someone a monster, they could mean like something dangerous. If you had to call someone a beast, who knows what they're a beast in? But creature, such a throwaway term for something that's so alluring and has been calling so many to their deaths. It's sad that they are to be called creature. I wonder if they do have a name. It's sad, isn't it?
It's interesting as you hear Jimothy almost listening in and nodding. You do hear the sounds of the pops of small firearms echoing out from the shooting gallery and the occasional shatter of glass from exploding milk bottles. But then something else carries on in the wind. A song. A hum, a whistle almost in the wind that seems to be drawing your attention, though not pulling you directly. But then your eyes catch, across all of this, the waft of incense that fills your nose as you're walking through Kala. As you pass a purple tent, the sign out in front of it advertises the services of Greco, the second-sighted boy.
Jimothy, someone who can see the beyond. I wonder, like our dear friend the creature, are they a real sort or a fake? Now, I know you were ready to go chase that fish, but how about we get our fortunes read for once? At least while the light is out. and she's going to stop for a second to look inside to see if they're inside before moving on to find the couple.
Perfect. We'll go ahead and have that going on, and then we'll move on to Ishak and Miss Evans as the camera pans away and moves through. You all moving through the crowds, taking in everything. As a rapturous crowd applauds as from the balloon ascent observation deck towards the center of the Cremorne Gardens, as you see enormous red and gold striped balloon climbs into the air, the roar of the pump of the flames looking up into it, lifting it higher and higher. You pass by a large pagoda crammed with revelers at night. Hundreds of lanterns glowing overhead, and the dance floor scuffed by thousands of shoes. As you're keeping your eyes out for Mr. Simpson, Miss Evans, and for the rest of the characters here, the players here, let's paint the scene. Paint the scene prompts are things that we all utilize and answer together to help set the scene a little bit more distinctly than my just singular mind could take. A sense of wild abandon, of an unshackling of the social constraints of the day hangs in the air here. What do you see or otherwise perceive that indicates that the times are moving forward and changing?
Mon, would you like to go ahead, or should I start?
You can start. You can start.
So, Keeper, where are we exactly on the observation deck? Wes?
You're nearby it.
All right. The first thing that Ishak sees and it catches their attention is very clearly a married couple, and who are sort of, walking hand in hand and, conversing, almost whispering like sweet nothings into the air. And you see another couple just walk past them, and almost very casually, if somebody's noticing them, they will see it. You see the partners switch, and they keep on walking. You see a child who. Wait, is this a place where children are allowed?
Can you repeat your question?
Is this a place where children are allowed?
No, no. There's people all around. Yeah, there's people all around enjoying the
All
day
right,
and
okay.
everything. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you see a bunch of children who are in sort of make-believe monster, sort of, for those times, costumes. Like if somebody wants to be a wolf, they literally have just, those fur-covered things just all over their face and just pretending to be wolves and trying to eat people. And I took notice of that and I smiled. Trying to play God, huh? I like that. And I try to observe, lots of, hidden behind the veils romance going on, because that's where Ishak is really interested in all of the gossip.
Perfect.
Amon?
Okay. So as you said, there are many people around. Some are even dancing. So there is a very fascinating song is going, and everyone is like doing a dance in a very coordinated way. It's sort of like a ball, but it's not exactly like that, because there is no it's like people are not very being very professional, or they're just here to have fun. So they are like dancing the way they want to, rather than the way people have told them to. And as this happened, there are some people in the corner, as Ishaq said, there are couples all around in the area. And there is this one woman who is talking to her husband or a fiance, that she is walking with, and she is basically talking about how she's very scared that this fish creature is roaming around, and she just basically behaves like she's very weak and fragile, and she'll just faint by hearing the name of this fish creature. And the man is like basically behaving like he's very strong, and he's just holding her and he's calming her down. Don't worry, darling, it's fine, I'm here to protect you. And by the looks of it, Miss Evans just look at the woman and the man, and she rolls her eyes, and she just think in her mind that, why do you pretend to be weak just for some affection? Well, women are strongest creature there. Yes, creature. They can be anything. They can be the ghost, they can be the beast, they can be the one who can get the work done. And the moment she thinks about getting the work done, she starts to look around everywhere in the corner. Where is Mr. Thompson? Sorry, Simpson. And she looks around, ignoring everyone, all the cheering, all the talking, and she just look around for Mr. Simpson.
May I add to that?
You're not there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Right after Miss Evans takes her eyes off the scared women and the strong man, starts to look for Mr. Simpson. What she misses is that the girl, in this act of cowardice, puts her hand into the man's pocket and steals her purse.
Oh.
Very nice.
Good detail that I definitely don't know about.
And Kumi, is there anything that you would like to add to this paint the scene?
I would say that nervously on the side, and this is someone that looks like a gardener almost, is looking at a newspaper left behind by one of the patrons and is nervously reading the lines. And no one notices this very well, but if they were to pay close attention, you would notice that the ends of their trousers seem to have been waterlogged recently and bears the stains of just water drying up on it.
Interesting. As you're all scanning the scene, and Miss Evans, you're trying to catch sight of maybe Mr. Simpson. You two are almost practically stopped, barricaded by the sight of a woman in a simple utilitarian dress. Her hair is pulled back in a neat bun, and she has a no-nonsense look about her face. This is Abigail Simpson. Miss Evans, you would know her directly as the daughter of Thomas Simpson, the daughter of the proprietor. And even though her father is the visionary of Cremorne Gardens, she's the one that makes sure everything runs smoothly. She was typically the one that was working hand in hand with you, and she's like intimately familiar with everything going on. As she stops and goes, Miss Evans, delightful to see you again here at Cremorne Gardens. It's a pleasure to be seeing you, as well as who is this associate that you have with you today?
Oh, Miss Simpson, it's good to meet you. This is my friend.
I interrupt her like, hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I just take Miss Simpson's hand and I just gently, give it a kiss.
Go ahead and let's go ahead and get our first roll here with the day move. So you are going to try to make I'm assuming making a good impression here on Miss Simpson with the undeniable. So you're going to go ahead and make the day move with presence. Before you roll, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail this roll?
I'm afraid that she is going to think I'm a creep.
Perfect. Perfect. That is a really good fear to have, especially with that interaction.
Yeah.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll 2d6 and add your presence score.
Yeah. It's a 9.
A 9. Okay. So on the day move with a 7 to 9, the keeper will tell you. I'm going to tell you how the actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through with it. But if you go through with it, I'll go ahead and describe what that looks like. And I think with this, she is going to give like a slight interesting look at you, Ashok, but it's going to be more like I know exactly what type of person you are, and this is very dangerous. So she's not going to be offended, but she is going to try to play this off as like, oh no, I am working, and this is very professional, and this is not a route that I want to go down. Now, if you want to keep that going, that's perfectly fine. You can also back down from that action, and you can like approach it a different way. Or if you want to go forward with this, then we can absolutely go forward with it. Or you can mark a mask to bump your success up to a 10 plus.
I would like to. You know what? Let's go with the mask. Like I want to see how this works. Like I'm too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Down below, you have the masks of the past and the masks of the future, and each one of them have different things, associated things with them. If it's a flashback prompt, we'll wait until a time to narrate those later. But for now, if it's like a mask of the future, then you can mark any of those in any order, including destroying yourself physically, which is I think would be very funny if you mark that one where it's just I destroy myself physically and this character's over with. But please do not do that. But yeah, give them a look over. Give them a look over.
I've taken a look over, and I'm gonna choose the darkened threshold. Narrate a scene during which people treat you like you're nothing special.
Perfect. All right, go ahead and start thinking that up, and then we'll go with our prompts because there'll be a time where we'll re-narrate prompts here in a little bit. But go ahead and think that over, get that together. As you're going to go ahead and bump your success up to a 10, and we will come back to you two in a moment as we move over towards the banks of the river. Near the banks of the river, to the Shane Walk, where we see Theo making your way nearby, walking. The smell of roasting coffee beans from a nearby cart. The whistle of steamer ships in the distance down the Thames. The hopelessly stupid giggling of young lovers passing by, all juxtaposed with what you understand and what have been told is happening here. Let's all paint the scene. This street along the harbor and just a few hundred feet from Cremorne Gardens will become the center of an artistic movement in London in just a few short years. What do we see now that hints at this future?
Wow, okay. Anyone else wants to go first? I'm drawing a blank here.
Same. I'm drawing a blank here.
Sorry.
This is the scene near the pond, right? It's
Near the river.
Bank of
near
Near the river.
okay. I said there is near the river you can see there are these very dense bushes. It seems like even though the garden is being kept well, but because the water here is nearby, it's getting more water as expected. And there are very high tall bushes there, and there are some trees also to kind of creates a very dark area, sort of some dark corners around. And as you try to look within those dark corners, you sometimes imagine that there is something there. And as you go forward, as you walk forward, there's nothing there. And there are many corners like this in this particular area, which as you can see, it's still daytime, but it's still dark in those corners.
I'd say that glistening in the sunlight as the water ripples almost like silver, there is a catch, almost an instance of red in its depths. And at first glance, it looks like maybe a distorted body, maybe something that's been harmed and is bleeding. but if you look closer, they're scattered petals, and it gives an impression almost of taking a bit of a whimsy and thinking of a time when you were given a rose and you have fondled it and pulled apart its petals, searching for an answer almost. Do they love me? Do they love me not? But this is scattered and flowing down this river.
Perfect.
Along the dark canopies of the trees that are surrounding this area, making it dark, small beams of light push through the top of the trees, and they almost light a way forward, almost like the side strip lights of a red carpet, leading straight to a circle of mushrooms.
Oh, interesting.
Anything else to add? All right. Theo, as you make your way down the walk, what's your intention? What are you attempting to do? What's your process here as you're hunting?
So what I am looking for is maybe a break in the fence, maybe something dug up, maybe to find the home of this creature, because I've been fighting these monsters and I know monsters are real. This one may not be, but I'm not going to treat it like it's not.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. So with that, we are going to go ahead and have you roll the information move. The information move is different from the day move or the night move in the way that it is utilized to search for a clue, conduct research, or otherwise gather information. When you're doing, you have described how you're doing so we're going to roll with an appropriate ability. And depending on what you roll, that will determine what comes about with that. So Theodore, I imagine with this, you're kind of... You're tapping into instinct. You're tapping into like the knowledge that you've had from previous hunts. So let's go ahead and roll the information move. You're going to take 2d6, and you're going to roll with your reason. You're going to add your reason ability. And do keep in mind whenever you're making any rolls that if you do wish, you can take an item from your personal quarters and describe how you're using it to give yourself advantage on the roll, which means you would roll with 3d6 and pick the two highest.
Can't think of any item right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll do a flat roll.
Perfect. All right, proceed then.
That is a 9 total.
A 9 total. As you're looking around and everything, you start scanning the like from above, the street and the railing above, and you're looking down into the bank, and you seem to notice something. It sticks out of place from the muck and the mire, and you hop over the railing very quickly, very succinctly, and drop down. And your boots squelch in the soft mud and almost seem to sink a little bit. And you make your way across the briny surface. And then as you do, you go ahead and you find a large dorsal fin that has been seemingly torn off. And you can go ahead and add that to our list of clues on the threat tab. As you're doing that, you hear... Pretty interesting, ain't it? From down the bank. You have picked it up, you're studying it, and you look down, and you see a man with head of curly hair, very handsome, but in a rakish way, and has an easel with canvas and has a series of oil paints spread out on a board, and seems to be painting something aimed towards you. And you notice, as you notice that, he looks up and waves and goes, "Try not to move too much," and holds up a thumb, and then holds up the paintbrush, and then starts getting to work, and goes, "I'm Whistler, by the way, James Whistler. What's your name?
Hey, Jimmy. My name's Theo. You frequent here often?
Theo, that's a nice name. I like that. I live right here on Shane Walk. You can see my apartment's right up there, the one with the good light in the window, the only good light it seems about in London. I frequent around this time.
Oh, so you must know that it's not safe to be around here. What exactly are you painting?
The news and everything. No, I love it here. I love it around the area. It's so full of life and everything, and such interesting subjects. Can you try and move your elbow down a little bit farther while you're holding that object right there? Just a little bit, 2 degrees to the yes, perfect, right there, excellent. Yeah, no. Some of my neighbors hate Cremorne Gardens. It's too noisy, too many drunkards wandering about. A lot of them work tirelessly to ensure Mr. Simpson will be denied when he tries to renew his license to keep it open. I think they're all fools. The gardens are totally original. Super interesting. Tons of folks from all walks of life all around. And, the possibility of a sea monster terrorizing the place makes it all more enchanting. Maybe I might find something that can inspire my artwork a little bit. You can go ahead and just put your foot back about a half step right there. I think that's going to be a little bit more dramatic for me. Yeah. And as he's talking, go ahead. No.
It's weird that you keep asking me to move in between of a painting.
Oh, I'm just finding a new way for my subject to stand. I like to start off with a more neutral position like you had right there with the fin, and then I like to see if you can move a little bit more elegantly, and I'm finding with your elbow thusly and your foot just right there, if you don't move, it's going to be perfect.
Okay, and how about this? I take out a pocket watch, and I'm looking at the time as I'm holding the pen. How about this?
Oh, brilliant. You're just a masterwork. Don't move at all. As we pull away, before we hit break, we're going to go back to our vessel, Kala. But go ahead and under your conditions, you're going to mark a crick in your neck because of having to stand subject for a painting for just a little bit too long. It's going to put a little bit of a cramp in your neck right there.
Okay.
And we'll come back to this. Perfect. As the camera pulls back, we cut back to this tent, this purple tent. And I'm assuming, Kala, you and Mr. Jimothy went inside this tent?
Yes, of course, we're so excited. And I give him a little bit of catnip to sniff on, which he loves doing, and he purrs as we walk in.
You step in, and it's almost like the noise and the smells of the outside of the Cremorne Gardens all cut off at once, like somebody just put a cover over it. Into this dark tent. Shadows linger and creep with the dancing of candles that are dancing listlessly all around the edges of the canvas. In the very center, there is a table. There is a basic 4-legged chair in front of that table, and then there is a stack of boxes with rugs and pillows draped over them. You see, sitting cross-legged on this box is a young man, has dark skin, black curly hair that holds tight. There are head wraps around, with the curly hair peeking out in different portions of it. There's a strange face paint on his face with a jewel representing his third eye. Welcome in. Please have a seat.
Hello. My, that's a wonderful piece of accessory you have on your head. I have a friend who I think would love to accessorize that way as well. And as she settles down, she feels the cloth of the table. In the same way that Miss Evans looks for dust on cloth, the same way Color looks for impressions of multiple hands having been placed here before, almost in a way to just seep a little bit of their story from any sort of terrified sweat that they might have left behind.
Are you invoking a ritual of a rite of salt and smoke?
Not yet, but I
Okay.
am gathering to see how potent I could make this. But it has a time, like I joked with Ishak earlier, and they were going to meet their rival in a way. I feel like I must test my own skills against this young man.
Perfect. I love it. Let's go ahead and have you roll the night move with sensitivity. Now, go ahead and be sure to let me know what you're afraid of happening if you fail this roll.
Let me look at my conditions. See. You know what? Let's go for a problematic side effect. If something were to happen.
Perfect. Something affecting you directly, taking charge or taking its course. Perfect. All right, go ahead and make that roll because it's going to be worse than that. Kala, if you fail this roll while you're in front of Greco and everything, as you're trying to find traces, not only will you develop a side effect, you'll be leaving yourself open for any entities that might be lurking around Greco himself.
And as I settle down and I say, "Dear Greco, they call the creature here a hoax or perhaps a real murderer. You too, were you treated as maybe real or a hoax instead? How many have you gotten to tear up, to sweat a little with just mere words? Try me out, won't you? I'd put to you a challenge. Tell me something absolutely dreadful, something that'll make me fear the night itself. And in return, if you fail to do so, might I have a chance to get you to shed a couple of tears instead? Perhaps a tale you are unwilling to encounter, to confront yourself?"
Go ahead and make your roll as the boy's eyes, who are closed the entire time you've sat down and everything, open with excitement.
Ooh, okay, so that's 2 d6s and my sensitivity modifier.
Sensitivity.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Ooh, it's not the best. It totals an 8.
An 8. All right. With the night move, you do it or hold steady, but there's going to be a complication or cost. I will describe what it looks like. As you're sitting there, Greco's eyes open and focus in on you. And you start feeling the cloth, and you can feel the beads of sweat that have dried start to moisturize again and formulate and draw to your fingers. And Greco speaks to you within your mind and says, "A challenge. I appreciate a challenge. A game. What game are you playing, Kala?
Well,
What game have you been playing since you have found yourself upon the shores of this wretched land?"
well, back at home we did enjoy finding games in the tiniest things scattered around. Might I show you mine? And she takes out a small pouch and drops a couple of seashells on the table. And as they settle, she looks at it almost like a person deciphering tea leaves. This game is going to be fun, isn't it? I see that you present me with a challenge. Oh yes, this is Sir Jimothy. Now, he does help me with swatting away undesirables, while calling those seeking to approach me. Do really test my worth, I ask, is there any question that you have wanted answered? Anyone that you have reached out trying to find? If I were to indulge you in a little secret, I would say that I would answer yes to both.
His eyes focus on Sir Jimothy, and then you. And I'm going to have you roll the information move here in a little bit difference. But you are going to roll it with disadvantage, but since you're using Sir Jimothy, you're going to roll it with advantage
So it's a
because
straight.
of you're familiar, so it's a straight roll. You're going to be utilizing it with advantage because you are taking the condition open mind, open heart. As Greco says, we can make this happen. But let's do it in a place a bit more comfortable. As all the candles wash out and the darkness envelops you, and then you feel yourself being pulled into yourself, a wave of velvet and colors of lavender and purple and blue take you in. The smell of seawater and brine fills your ears and your nostrils, as then you find yourself on the deck of a ship, a rainstorm up. Greco is sitting on the planks of the wood across from you. Go ahead and make that roll. Do not tell us the result just yet, as we go back over towards the dancing platform with Abigail and our undeniable and the factotum.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
I have this thing marked called a lonely one. Does that trigger when I investigate for my clue?
No, that will be during the night phase. During the night phase, a lonely one. Yeah, which we will see probably next session. Perfect.
Just to interject here, would everybody like to take a bit of a break before we come back?
I'm ready to play more.
Yeah, if we can go ahead and take a break after we do this scene with Abigail and the factotum and the undeniable with Ishak and Miss Evans, and then we can take a break then, and then we can come back for more after that.
Sure. With this, narrate a scene during which people treat you like you're nothing special. So,
Absolutely.
this is a scene from the future, or like
present day, probably. Yeah.
All right. So you see Ishak traveling, or rather walking through a market, which is filled with all kinds of tailors' boutiques, and flower shops, and everything which is beautiful. And what he sees is not that people are treating him any less special, but he just walks in with his, he's wearing like a cashmere jacket on top of his shirt, same corduroy pants, and I look around and I see people who are as, if not more, beautiful than I am. And all the shopkeepers and vendors are hearkening to everyone, and people who are as beautiful as I am, they have to, they are going up and trying to gather the attention of the shopkeeper who will give it to them. That's never happened to me before. No one is more beautiful than I am. No one is even close to how beautiful I am. And I try to sort of strut up in a very prim and proper femme fashion way to a shopkeeper to show me a jacket. And excuse me, Taylor, can you show me a nicely embroidered jacket? This isn't working for me. And they don't even respond. And I just this is not just awkward, this is humiliation. There is no question that I've asked which hasn't been answered before. There is no door that hasn't been ever not opened for me, and I'm not even being entertained. And with that, I see a similar look in Abigail's eyes as I imagine the shopkeeper looking at me. You're just another person. That sort of look. But I try to put my damn sweetest, sluttiest smile out.
Perfect. With that, Abigail, Miss Evans, you can notice with Abigail, there's like almost like a shudder almost when she looks at the undeniable, almost like you've just seen a whole like personality shift. Almost like there's something inside her changed effectively by just like hearing the voice of a shock. And she blinks and she nervously like removes her hand, not like threateningly or disgustingly, but like she's overwhelmed. And she turns to you, Miss Evans. She goes, I haven't seen you so long here at the gardens. Is everything well with you?
Oh, everything is fantastic with me. Just I've been moving around, hanging on. Just wanted to see how everything is. I've heard some rumors, not just rumors, some news in the newspaper. Is everything all right?
Rumors, yes, of course, quite. The what is it? The fishman creeping about. Look, really, if there was a fishman creeping about, my father would have already captured it, put it in a tank, and raised a tent, a joey to go in, and for everyone to pay a pence to go in and have a look. I'm sure there's just a rumor.
Of course, even I think it's a rumor. I don't think any kind of fish creature or anything can just prop up and nobody will know about it, just hiding behind some bushes and attacking people. But still, I can see people are scared out there. What are you doing about it?
Let's go ahead, Miss Evans. What are you doing about it? What a good question. What a good pointed question. Miss Evans, go ahead and roll the information move. Let's go ahead and have you roll this with composure because you're maintaining your course. You're like not being sidetracked by like talks about her father or anything. She knows the relationship that you two have. And go ahead and roll 2d6 and let us know the result. As this is happening, Ashok, she keeps glancing back to you as she's talking to Miss Evans. Just keeping that in mind, and keep in mind if there's anything more you want to do next.
I rolled 2 5s and a 1 is additional in my presence, so it's a 11.
Okay, so an 11. That means you will get, without any cost or anything, you will receive a clue. But also, do keep in mind, if you do want to mark a mask, you can bump that up to 12+, and not only will you get a clue, but you'll get our first mastermind clue of this game.
Okay.
Something to keep in mind.
I think it's like interesting to use mask because like, you know, it's a 2-shot. So I'll just I'll use a mask. Which mask can I use? Like the mask of the future, right?
Yeah, you can use the Mask of the Future or the Past, or you can even use the Mask of Revelry, which is for the threat. If you don't want to use your own masks, you're like, well, there's this freebie, and we all have to narrate something later.
So a Mask of the Revelry, only one person can use out of the all, right?
Yeah, yep.
I think I'll just like keep it for now and waited to use it around the night, I guess.
Got it.
But for the mask, I think I'll use a mask of the future.
Okay.
And mind you, as she's talking and as she's glancing my way, I am sort of again, Ishak has this, wonderfully carved out face, but um, almost unnaturally, he has like really beautiful plump lips. And
Mhm.
as she's sort of glancing my way, I'm just trying to like nod towards her. Oh, it's okay. Dear. Keep speaking, and just like slightly trying to seduce her to like hey, it's okay. It's me. You can trust me. The stranger that you just seen.
Perfect.
And yeah, I'm gonna use the mask of the future, which says, and the darkened threshold, narrate a scene in which you commit a terrible act of violence in order to help your employer or punish one of their enemies. So how do I narrate it? The moment I ask her this question, what are you doing about it?
You can go ahead if you want to narrate it right now. You can, or you can wait until later if you want to think on it, and you can like develop something more if you want to. It's up to you.
Okay, I think I need a moment with it and like to think
Okay.
about it. And yeah, but I'm gonna use that mask.
Perfect. She goes. Look, honestly, we've been doing our best. We've updated security, as you can tell. And she starts pointing out some gentlemen that look like obvious, the understanding of like, I'm not a cop, but you obviously look like an undercover cop. Like people that are dressed normally, but are very much checking the crowds, making sure nobody's up to no good. She goes, we've updated our security, and they've been making sure that everything has been tamped down. There's nothing out of the ordinary for this. But I did find something strange. And I trust you. I remember when you worked for us, Miss Evans. And your new friend, I'm sure, could help us. We found something, one of the gentlemen, and they brought it to me. And she pulls out a jar. And within it is this unusual bile-like substance within it. She hands it over to you, and she goes, I assumed it was just something that washed up from the shoreline, but they told me that they found it over by the bowling hall. In between that and the hedge maze. I don't know what it possibly could have been, but don't open it here, but if you open it, it smells briny and like rotten fish. I don't know what it is, but I hope it can help.
Definitely it might. And I would definitely help you. Thank you for asking, Abigail. And I kind of sort of turn it around to like, in terms of that she asked me for help and now I'm helping her. And I take the jar and I look at Ishak and I see what he's doing, and just like I stand there, I wait for him to be done. He want to quote her, then like ask her out. If he doesn't want to do that, just let's go. And I'm just like standing there like with a poker face. Like I know this is his usual. He does that with everyone.
She goes, thank you so much. Maybe what I can do, you already know your way around this place, Miss Evans. What if, what was your name again? I'm so sorry.
You can call me Ishak.
Shock. A lovely name.
And Al-Shirazi, if you're feeling a bit familiar.
Al-Shirazi. Beautiful. Mayhaps I shall show you around the gardens, give you a guided tour, so that you could have a better sense of the location for your investigation.
Absolutely.
She offers her arm to be taken by you.
Take it.
And she goes, well, let's go ahead and start right here is the dance hall and everything, and she starts pointing it out. Almost, Miss Evans, you understand how this goes on. As you're looking about again, trying to get your bearings, you notice you're brushed past very roughly, very quickly, as we see a gentleman in an officer's uniform with a young officer in the Royal Navy. This gentleman is very elderly. He's got a tall, broad-shouldered physique. He has a vacant, dead-eye stare, as if he's looking past or through you, and a voice that says, "Pardon me," as he bumps into you and brushes past. It sounds like a frog's croak. You hear them talking. You hear him listening to this young officer that's like, "Thank you so much, sir, for letting me stay with you at your home in Belgrave Square. It's a beautiful home, by the way. I've been abroad for a while, and I'm quite tired, but the furnishings... Have they been to your accommodations? Have they been exquisite?" Yes, sir, much better than the ship. I'm excited to get started on my first assignment. It's a great honor to learn so much from you, and you're such a legendary figure, and to be in the shadow of a vice admiral is something that's just... I wouldn't know what to expect. There, boy. There, boy. All shall come clear to you in time. You have a very important job, very important indeed. And it's almost as he keeps walking past and brushing past you, he looks over his shoulder, and that dead-eye stare, like a shark's eyes, looks at you again, Miss Evans, as if he notices you or remembers you from something. And then that's where we'll take our time to go take a break now.
Okay.
Nice.
Akumi on mute.
You're muted.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I unmuted myself on stream and I forgot to unmute myself to all of you. But we are going for a break. See you all in about 10 to 15 minutes. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. We're back. Thank you for staying back to wait for us and join in on the rest of this investigation. Over to you, Wes.
Yes. What happened in the first half of our stream here is we got to know our characters a little bit. We got to see them interacting with each other in Hargrave House. And then we were given our assignment, which is our threat, which is the Creature of Cremorne Gardens. Cremorne Gardens, which is a pleasure gardens that is in London and right alongside the Thames, is a beautiful area that is being plagued by some kind of fish creature that may or may not be real. It may be a hoax. And so our hunters have hit the ground running on investigating what might be connected to it. We had Ishak and Miss Evans are undeniable on our factotum. Worked together to track down the proprietors, and they stumbled across Abigail Simpson, where Abigail Simpson has been wooed, seemingly, or charmed by Ishak. And Miss Evans grabbed a bit of information about the security of Cremorne Gardens and a strange substance that was found that has a briny smell to it, a rotten fish smell to it. She also literally bumped into a strange vice admiral with a toad-like voice and a very tall and broad physique. On the other side of Cremorne Gardens, we've had Legacy, our hunter Legacy, Theodore Inglewood, track through and go to try to find the home of this creature. And instead of finding a home, finding a large dorsal fin that had been ripped off seemingly from the creature, and also stumbled across a happenstance meeting with James Whistler, an artist, that decided to take him on as a subject. We then also had our vessel, Kala Kumari, go through Cremorne Gardens and get sidetracked by a purple tent housing a person by the name of Greco, the second-sided boy. There she entered with Mr. Jimothy, her familiar, and sat across from Greco, catching Greco's attention and saying that maybe they should play a game of the mind, into which, while Kala having the seeming upper hand with that, Greco took a moment of her confidence and found a hole within her defenses to take their conversation from the real world to a different plane, a plane of thoughts and spirits and of mind, to where they ended up on the deck of a ship in the middle of a storm facing each other. And that's where our story continues. Facing across from one another, you've rolled the information move, Kumi. What did you get on your roll here to see how this is going to play out a bit?
Well, my dice decided to twin each other for once, and I got a 5 on both of them. So that's equal to a 10.
A 10 with your sensitivity, which is a 2. So that brings it to a 12.
Yes.
As you're opening, as you're taking a look at all of this wind and rain that's around you on this ship that rocks, Greco's face softens and goes, "I've always been able to see things and to feel things, but this is a first for me. I've never been able to bring someone into their own head. This is what it's like."
Wonderful, isn't it? So just a memory, because I think of it, you can join me now, can't you? And even though usually I would find myself shaken by this, for once, when I'm lost here, it's good to have a familiar face.
You've won this game. No need to challenge each other. You've given me a gift. Something I truly didn't expect. And so for that, I shall give you something in return.
Please.
Closes his eyes, clasps his hands together, and then opens them. And inside, you see a small book bound and sewn in the binding. Not any kind of paste or anything utilized, a sewn binding. It's rough and it has watery stains on it, and it's a book of sailors' hymns. And hands it over to you. I'm sure that shall come in handy for you for your eventual investigation. With that, I also provide you something else.
Go on.
Greco's eyes roll into the back of his head, and then you feel your own eyes forcibly being rolled into the back of their head, as if it's the camera itself is being placed your vision. You see the inside of your skull, the darkness of that, and then a light pops up. And the light pops up a gold crest from what seems to be a ship. And the name of it is the HMS Chimera. Kush, Theo, there's something unusual about this crest. What is it?
The crest of a ship?
Yes.
Gonna say weirdly this crest has the lower side at least. It's almost like it's a symbol of a land instead of the sea.
Excellent.
Unusual. For something that hides itself from taking the sea, from being able to handle the waves, why does this thing seem to anchor itself to land instead? Are you trying to tell me, like our dear creature amiss, who is from what seems to be a water body, to come onto a body of land? A song, a book of songs, songs for sailors. A sailor does come from land, even though they do wish to be at sea.
Much like you, comma, I have always been able to see things and feel things. But this is something for not my own eyes to see, or not for my own hands to feel, but for you and your compatriots to parse through and understand.
But I ask if taking the reward from the challenge, the bet I had, the gamble almost that I placed before you in the beginning, can I ask if you could bestow just one more gift, one more reward? A little something that I want, which is more personal than your thoughts, more personal than your abilities of it. Happy or sad, would you shed a tear for me?
I shall do this for you, but not on this meeting. Seek me again, either at my tent or in your dreams, and there I shall provide you a tear.
Look forward to sharing our spirit together again. And
He nods. Go ahead.
I gather my seashells and then stop, since it was such a beloved new experience for me. Take one of these. And I give him a tiny, like, conch shell, but it's the sort that was possibly earlier inhabited by a sea creature that has left it behind. A home that's not a home anymore. It could still belong in a home if you gave it some space. And I hand him this conch shell.
As you place it in his hand, his feeble fingers grasp around it, and it glows. And that glows so bright, and you can feel it pierce through your eyes, and you instinctively hold up a hand to cover. And then when it goes away, you lower your hand, and you're back in the tent. All the candles have been doffed. Jimothy is there, sitting on the table, doing the thing cats do, where they lick their toes, and looks up and gives a... And Greco is nowhere to be found.
Well, that was better than a prize they put out on the signs. Come, Jimothy. We have a fishman to find. Maybe you could purr along with me as I sing a song. And I go out looking for a song in this book that's almost in my head. Just flipping through these pages, looking for maybe this sort of background music that could accompany the next scene I'm in.
And I think you'll find that and be drawn to that from the bowling saloon, as you can hear the notes similar to this song plucked over an old ragtime piano. And as we follow you along there, the camera keeps going back to the shoreline, where finally you stretch a little bit, Theo, as Whistler goes, "All right, I think I'm done. You're a really good subject, you know that?"
I tend to be good at most things I do.
And you're confident and humble. We appreciate that. So are you some kind of scientist or scholar or something?
Sure, let's go with that.
Sure, he says. Let's go with that. I'm sorry to ask. I don't mean to pry too much. I know how privacy is a very common thing that people clasp to here in Europe. In America, especially where I'm from, we just kind of freely give information willy-nilly. I just noticed that you were holding that weird, I guess, shark fin? And, well, also that book that you got on your side there. Just figured you were probably some kind of biologist or something.
Well, yeah, I'm here to research an emerging sea creature.
You're probably one of those zoological society types. There's a fella who walks around the shoreline here by the name of Abel. He typically does it at nighttime, though. Talking all about that fish creature. You might be from the same group, then.
Oh, April, do you say? I've not heard of this one.
Yeah, he works out in the harbor. I met him one time when I was doing some figure studies down on the dock workers and everything. He's a nice fella. He's a bit intense, though.
Okay, I'll speak to this able person. But meanwhile, have you seen anything peculiar happen here?
Go ahead and roll the information move with presence for me.
Ooh, presence is not good. Okay. That's a 6 total.
6. Whistler looks at you and goes, "How about this? How about you, later tonight, leave that big old fin at home, and you bring that weird book of yours and yourself, and I'll show you my favorite place here in the gardens, and if we have a good time, then I'll tell you what I know."
Well, if it's a good time you want, why wait for the night? And I pull out the needle again.
Well, we can go ahead and get right into that if you want to, and then we can see where the night takes us.
Dead set on the night, huh?
I work better at night.
Well, all right. I'll walk to him, shake his hand. See you at
Shake
night.
his- See you later tonight. And looks at the needle again and looks back at you and goes, "You can bring that too." And
Understood.
starts to pack up his easel and everything like that. Where are you headed to now, Theo?
I'm gonna head back and find Miss Evans. Miss Evans.
Perfect. That'll be good. We'll come across. We'll have you two join together here soon. Let's go with Ishak and Abigail Simpson here. Ishak, Abigail has walked you through all the places that I have already said: the balloon observation deck, the dancing platform, the bowling saloon, the banqueting hall, and she has somehow ended up mysteriously, it's just the next stop on the tour, in front of the hedge maze. We see towering hedges that seem to block you off from the outside world. There are stone benches and fountains at the entrance, but you can also assume that there are more along inside. A perfect place to get lost in. And she goes, "And here is our hedge maze. It's a delightful treat. Beautiful flowers and animal topiaries. Would you like to partake?"
Miss Angelica, I would love nothing more. But tell me, do people get lost in the maze itself?
Oh, all the time. Sometimes we have to send security in to go find them because they start crying, "Help, help! All I see are leaves!" It's quite hilarious.
It is indeed. And I sort of like lead her into the maze itself. And I'm also trying to listen for any kind of sound or noise that might pique my interest regarding, perhaps an activity or some talk that I can maybe hear through the maze itself. I know if it's too much of a stretch, but as I'm sort of keeping her keeping the small talk going.
Perfect. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and have you roll the night move with. Let's go with composure. And what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail this roll?
I'm afraid that it would be just a waste, and where I am most needed, because I'm always needed, where I'm most needed, I will end up wasting my time with this. Ishak finds himself the most beautiful. He doesn't think much of other. I'm gonna waste my time with her, where I could be doing something useful, and it's going to ruin my whole week thinking about how I made a stupid decision.
Perfect. All right. It's worse than that. Ashok, not only is it going to be a waste of time, but Abigail is going to disappear into the hedge maze and probably never be found. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So let's go ahead and have you roll that. While you're rolling that, let's get a paint the scene from our other members of our other hunters. Unbeknownst to people entering it for the first time, the hedge maze is designed to scare patrons. What frightening displays do you see when you turn a corner within this hedge maze?
I say. Okay. You go
ahead. Please,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Yeah, I say like the moment you turn around, you see this big statue, and it's like black marble, and it seems like someone is jumping on you, but the moment you kind of compose yourself and see, okay, it's just a statue, and it's all around in the maze everywhere.
I like that.
There would be like carvings in the hedges have like it's one of the hedges that is sculpted to look like hands are reaching out to grab something, grab someone who's rounding a corner.
I would say to suit the theme of this lovely garden, at one corner, almost like it's just like a cove just set aside by a couple of hedges to give more privacy. The first thing you would see when you enter is a bench, but right behind the bench, most realistic sort of statues are built when two people in an extremely compromising and very, very indecent position. And just the clothes on them look so real, like it's been like the buttons have been ripped off. The hair is pushed back. There's almost sweat on the brow. And yeah, I guess it's to shock you into a sense of pleasure almost. But this little corner is set aside.
Completely unintentional from the side of the maze makers. But it's a maze. It has nooks and crannies people can't find. And couples very often frequent these nooks and crannies to procreate. And what awaits them is weirder, because along these nooks and crannies in the hedges of the walls, there are small gaps around this wide where it seems the wall has thinned and almost looks like peeping holes. And many people swear they see eyes in there, but no one's ever found out anyone who's been stalking around them.
Perfect. What did you get for your role?
I haven't rolled. I was too intrigued by what other people were saying. So I'm rolling
Happens to me
composure.
all the time when I play. Yeah, you're rolling composure. Yeah. And remember, if you have any personal quarter items that you think would help you with this, you can go ahead and mark those to give you advantage. Oh, that roll, that look.
Is there any way I can gain advantage?
Yeah, because you have a couple of
Yeah,
items. Personal quarter items. Yeah, if you can find a way to make one of them work to help you out, then yeah, you can go ahead and roll an extra die.
I want to use the mirror that I have. I keep carrying with me to not just check my face in the mirror as I'm making small talk with Abigail, but to be able to sort of turn it and see if something's around the corner. If somebody's like sneaking around, just give me a vision from around the corner. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And yeah,
perfect.
I thought of something else as well.
Okay.
And while all the time I'm doing this, I'm also like humming the tune. So one thing I want to know, if I hum the tune, does she recognize the tune? The tune.
Let's go ahead and get this roll off, and then we can go from there to this
I'll
next
take
part.
advantage.
Okay.
I really need a good roll with this.
Yeah.
So, with an advantage, I get. I have a composure of. So here's what happens. With advantage, I roll 3d6 and I choose the highest two, right?
Yes.
I have 0 to composure, and for all my rolls, I rolled a 2.
All of them? So that's a 4?
All of them.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to describe what happens, and you can let me know if you want to put on a mask or not.
Sure. I don't know how. Yep.
Please. Shock. You are looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're trying to check the corners and everything like that, and she's talking, and she starts giggling. and she runs off towards the left. And it catches you off guard because you're like, why would anyone run away from me? I'm beautiful. Who am I? And as you turn the corner, then you see there's her glove. And then you keep following, and then you find another glove. And then you keep following, and you find more and more of her clothing that she's left aside. And then you start hearing, Ashok! Ashok al-Shirazi. Al-Shirazi. Come to me. Find me. Find me. And you keep wandering and wandering, trying to find her. And you can hear her phone, find me. Ashok, find me. I'm lost. This isn't funny anymore, Ashok. I'm dreadfully frightened. I'm so scared. I was trying to have a good time. I'm on my break, and I was trying to have a good time, and now I'm frightened, and I can't be found. And you start wandering, trying to find her. And you can't. You keep getting twisted and turned. These topiaries of these different animals, like dolphins, like swarming over each other, different types of fish being cut into the topiary, and she starts screaming your name, trying to find you. And then as you're wandering around, her voice starts getting smaller and smaller until you can't hear her at all anymore. And you turn the corner, and you're at that concrete, that stone bench and fountain, and you're at the entrance of the hedge maze again. You found a way out, but it seems like Miss Simpson has not.
Okay. Here's my question. My keeper. I've got a 4. So, what good will the Janus mask do? Because I don't know how much it will add to the role that I already made.
It will bring it up from a failure, so a 6 or under. It'll bring it up to a 7 to 9, which means that you will succeed at a cost.
Okay. So, fuck yeah, I would like to explore another Janus mask, because why the hell not? Please tell me which one is...
Whichever one you would like to mark, yeah. You've already marked the Darkened Threshold. So you have any of those options of the Mask of the Future. You also have your first Mask of the Past, which is a flashback. And then you also have the Mask of Revelry, the one that you all can choose from.
Mask of Revelry. I can't find it, but I will choose Mask of the Past. Narrate a flashback to your childhood that shows how even then people were willing to suffer in order to make you happy.
Perfect. So be thinking on that, and then we'll come back to your flashback and everything. But as if that branch, that this moment did not serve the focus, did not serve fate, it is cut. And instead, as you're wandering and you can hear, and it's almost like you get a headache and a nosebleed, a shock. You shake your head, and then you can hear her giggling again. And then you finally stumble into a circular, it seems to be just a circular corner, not the center of this hedge maze, but there's a stone plinth in the center of it. And there's a fountain gurgling right just past it, where you can see that there are multiple fish streaming up within each other, and the water's coming from their mouths and cascading down, it constantly flowing in on itself. And you can see that she is taking her undergarments, and she's using them to wash herself, her shoulders, her arms. They glisten in the sun. The sun is breaking through the fog and the overcast that is normal London weather, and it seems to be shining brilliantly right on her. And in this moment, you see her for the beauty that she keeps hidden away from everyone else in society, the job that she holds. And she looks over her shoulder at you and coyly gestures with one finger for you to come close.
Is there anyone else around?
Not a soul.
Okay. My Ishak, so my first concern is this girl was just screaming out in worry. And first of all, I like being needed. I don't like being needed to do something for someone. I like people doing things for me. I don't like being running around after someone in order to rescue them. And after, even though this is not my whole shtick, I still found her. And I don't like to be played around with. Do I sense this? Like, is she, even this person, has she gone mad? What's wrong with her?
It's almost like there's nothing seemingly wrong with her at all. You're a little bit unsettled, but that memory of her screaming and getting lost, you can feel it almost getting pulled from your brain strand by strand, as if it was just like a sense of deja vu or a memory that's fading. Like it's something that probably you just dreamt it up almost. And you're holding on to it, that little bit of a glimpse, and then it's gone. And you can feel it sift right through your fingers. Until there's nothing but that feeling towards her of like, I don't like being needed to do something. I only like being needed in your brain. And you see her, and she turns, and she has her breasts cupped, and she has a hand covering her nether regions. And she says, "Is there something wrong?"
Is this a trick? You dare play with me?
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to play a trick on you. I just wanted to have some fun. And then she makes her way towards the stone plinth and crawls atop it and crawls towards you, almost in a servile position, and she goes, "Is there a way that I can make it up to you? To beg for your forgiveness?"
Yes, you can. I'd like you to present yourself in such a manner, not to me, but to everyone else.
But to everyone else. Okay. Goodness gracious me. Alright. Socially, I guess. Okay. Go ahead. I'm going to ask you to roll with vitality, please. And then we are going to move away from this, but hold on to your roll until we come back to you as we move away, and we're going to have Theo and Miss Evans meet up with each other. But do hold on to that as she gets this look in her eye as you say to everyone else. And we will come back to this. Miss Evans, you had that bump in with that strange frog-voiced, like, admiral of some sort. After you had that interaction, what was your next intention? Where were you thinking to go?
So I'm basically right now looking at the jar, and I remember where that person, like where Abigail said that she found the jar. So I'm just thinking of going there.
Okay.
And as I might be walking towards that place, I say I just like I meet Theo while walking towards that area. So.
Perfect. Yes, you two hear as you're making your way across. We can see you each making your way across. You hear the thundering crash of bowling balls hitting their mark, Pin boys are dashing to and fro to reset them. The slightly stilted sound of the barrel piano cranking out a jaunty tune that we heard earlier with comma. Let's paint the scene, everyone. This place embraces Americana and the ideas of the Wild West. But to an American, it would all seem a little off. How do we know that?
There are literal synthetically made tumbleweeds, and the place has hired children to actually keep rolling it from one end to the other.
Oh my god. Those Dickensian children?
Yeah, Dickensian children kicking tumble. It's just like the Wild West. As an American, I can tell you, it's just like it.
I say just like they hired the children, they also hired some cowboys, and they're just like roaming around with some ropes in their hand and just like saying things like "I am the sheriff" and "Yeehaw," yeah, and just like catching like cows. Like there are some like cow display there. It's not real cow. It's just a plastic cow, and like they're just like trying to catch it and like trying to recreate some scene there, I guess.
Perfect.
I would say there's something terribly odd about the food. Firstly, it being very underseasoned. None of it looks quite vibrant anymore, and even at intervals, you can keep hearing almost like a chef at the back screaming in a very British accent about, "This is unbearable. I don't know how to cook any of this. Another what now?"
Can I add that along the other than the head chef, the whole other all the other chefs, the whole suit is all Indians. And of American
Wow,
food.
interesting. Okay, very good. I like that. That's a really cool detail. Sick. Anything else?
Definitely some like a couple of people just pretending to have a sort of Mexican standoff, but
Got it.
but not knowing, like just trying to, we're gonna shoot each other. Like, who goes? Hey, who goes first? And like confused, like what's the order? What's the modus operandi of like a proper Mexican standoff?
What's the chronology?
Very much who's on first kind of situation. I don't know who's on third. Yeah. Excellent. Yes, you two approach each other, being able to update each other, and then we'll start folding in our other two characters here as it's dramatically appropriate. I will have you note that you do see there is a handyman that's on a ladder that's adjusting some of the lights, getting ready for the nighttime here. And then you will also see there is a couple of fresh-faced lovers that are making doe eyes at each other, and they are giggling to and fro with each other as well. But yeah, take the scene away.
First of all, Miss Evans, never leave me alone in a place like this. This is dreadful.
Why, you did not enjoy it?
Of course not. This is.
I
What is this? A
I
garden
thought you
in
might
the sun?
find a corner and you like start using your needles again, but well,
Well, I found this instead, and I show her the film. Oh, and this reminds me. What do you think about if I should get a portrait of myself made for your room, of course?
why would I keep a portrait of yours in my room?
I don't know. My room is full.
Well, I might hang it behind my door.
Yeah. So every morning when you wake up, you'll see it.
I might find someplace else, I guess, now that you said it.
Oh, right above your bed. That's actually better. But anyway, back to the fin.
And I'd like take the fin from him. I also like basically show him that jar that I have. You know, Abigail Simpson, the girl that I've worked with in the gardens.
You worked for people before me?
Everything doesn't revolve around you, Master Inglewood.
That doesn't sound right. As I open the jar.
Yeah, and it smells like egg and rotten fish.
Okay. I put my finger in and take a taste.
It gelatinizes a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and give me the day move with vitality? What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail this roll?
Oh, this is straight up poison. I'm gonna die.
Okay, awesome. All right. And
I
argue
will have
with
to
that.
revive.
Exactly. You're going to be taking out 2 characters if you do die. Because there's something about the factotum. If their employer eats it, then the factotum becomes a side character, and then you have to make a new character. Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. We love it. We love it. My partner would love this. They're always the player that puts something in their mouth as a character.
That's good. That's a 4 and a 5 plus 2.
Oh, okay, good. So that's an 11. Absolutely. You go ahead and just... And you expect it to be pungent, awful, and it tastes like... This might be lost on some people, but if you've ever had crawfish, called crawdaddies or mud bugs, they're more like freshwater type of shrimp or anything. A common way to have them is once you cook them, you rip them in half, you eat the tails, and then you suck the heads. You get all the juice out of the heads. And sometimes it'll have this kind of like strange, kind of swampy kind of taste to it. And that's what it tastes like. It tastes very like muscly to it and everything. Or like shellfish, kind of like a shellfish kind of taste to it. But it doesn't poison you at all. And I'm going to do, this isn't really a mechanic, but I'm going to say now, whenever you make rolls towards tracking this thing, trying to hunt down or anything like that, it's specifically if you use like a smell or like a taste kind of sense, then I'll let you roll with advantage on that because of that. Because also you gave such a bold, like, I'm going to die if I fall apart. So perfect.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
Go ahead.
And as he does that, I have a very like surprised and appalled face that, oh my god, this dude. And the moment he tasted, I just snatched the jar away and like close it. Not everything is a drug, Master Inglewood.
I wasn't hoping for one. I thought it's something delicious. And honestly, it tastes like a fish without the fish.
Fish without the fish.
And does that help you in any way?
Now I know what it tastes like.
So you're gonna go around in this park, like lick everything around here, and expect me to, you know, revive you after you die.
They're all just ghosts pretending to be alive anyway.
Ew.
You could have... Okay. Yeah, and I just like roll my eyes again at him for this.
I think
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead. Just
Okay. I think this is a good time for Kala to walk up with the thought of like, even like we're all just ghosts pretending to be alive anyways. Bit of nihilism for your morning.
Allah like notes it down in a little notebook that she has. Like, that's a very good line.
Think I should put it in a song?
Speaking about songs, oh, you might not be able to see this, Inglewood, but in my head, this fascinating boy with the power of the second sight showed me a book. Do you happen to know any of these tunes? And she recites like the names of different songs, just sea shanties. And then says, another unusual thing as well is I do feel like the creature that we are looking for might be real, though mine are just based on just putting together things in my mind, if you could say. There were a lot of sea shanties, plus this medal as well, of the waves hitting the land almost. I do feel like this could be sort of symbolism, perhaps, to talk about this fish creature and their need to sing a song to lure what perhaps might have started as sailors, but now have transferred to pleasure seekers instead. It seems to lure them with a song. I'm not too sure which song yet. Were you able to find any concrete evidence of the creature's presence?
Your voice is cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what you are saying though, so you're telling me that you imagined a boy who imagined more things in your imagination, and
The boy,
that's what you're
though,
telling?
the boy was very real, and the sort of evidence that they presented seemed to be real as well. Though, yes, you dwell in the supernatural, dear. Do not just disregard my notions. Come on. You've seen me present evidence enough multiple times before when we've been monster hunting. I might not be able to show it to you in person, but if you were to take my sense and what I'm saying to be truth, I do believe our creature is real, not a hoax.
Well, that's a, how do I put it mildly? I trust you, but that's a weird fucking way to tell a story.
My companions, the
but
ones
yes.
that I meet, they do leave me a bit confused in the head, but go on. What is it that you and Miss Evans were fighting over?
I think
But
we're
yes, I do
getting
believe the
close
creature
to.
is-
I think we're getting close to a theorize, like an answering a question here. So I'm going to interrupt this just in case for our next session with something else. Ashok, can you go ahead and let us know what was the result of that vitality check that you made earlier?
So for my vitality, I rolled 2d6, which was a 10. My vitality is a 1, so that bumps it up to 11. Can I use another Janus mask, or is it too much?
To bump it up to 12? No, please, it is never too much. If you wish to use another Janus mask, please do.
Shah is ready for the masquerade.
So when that all played out, the Janus mask is a mask of the past.
Mm-hmm.
Narrate a flashback to your childhood that shows how even then people were willing to suffer to make you happy.
Absolutely.
And wait, we did not do that flashback, did we?
We did not do that one yet, no.
Oh,
No.
okay. In that case, can I sort of retcon the kind of mask that I was?
Yeah, if
doing?
you want to combine them or if you want to retcon them or anything like that, go for it. Yeah, absolutely. Get a little bit. This is a perfect time to do it. An excellent button for this.
Okay, so I'm going to combine two masks. One is mask of the. Well, no, I don't know if that will work mechanically because the one I wanted to choose was the moss-covered gate narrator scene in which you express private regret for the harm you have caused, but that's also related to something on the past. Mask
Do
of the
it.
past.
Do it. There are no rules. The fact is that there are
Sure.
rules, but there are also no rules. So let's do it.
Sure.
I love it.
So So it's sort of that guilty pleasure kind of thing. Like I feel guilty, but you know. So the flashback to the childhood shows how you even then people are willing to suffer. So you immediately see a young, probably like a teenager, like 15 years old, 14, 15, 16, around that age. Ishak, still extremely beautiful for a kid, and they are trying on different shoes, trying on different heels, and they have like 2-3 servants, maids, and butlers who are showing them different heels, different shoes, and they are putting it on, and Ishak is wondering, does this look good or not? And then their eyes settle on one pair of almost like blood red, shiny heels, and I want to look at it in the mirror. They look around and they see that there isn't a mirror where they could like look at their full picture, full body with the shoes. So what they do? That mirror can't be moved, unfortunately. Please make and you see like a sly smile on their face, like, I need to be raised up, and no, I do not want to embarrass myself and stand on a chair. And immediately you see all these servants around him, like a glow on their face, like absolutely anything for you, and they immediately lie down in front of him. I get up onto their back. I still can't see my shoes. I get off. Another person lies on top of them, another person lies on top of them, and I get up on their back. Now I can see it. It looks nice. The heel doesn't look sturdy though. And I like it almost like jam the heel into their back to see if the heel is strong enough. They whimper out in pain, but they're saying that, is it good? Is it good? Tell me, did it feel good? Yes, master. Then it is good indeed. And I get off, and that memory fades.
And with that memory, Ashok, I need you to go ahead and scar your reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose 2 from your list of taketh away. So taketh away is when you destroy a side character physically, spiritually, or socially. Describe how it makes you feel. Scar your reflection and roll vitality. You got an 11. So it means you get to choose 2. That's a 10 plus.
I also like bumped it up because I used to.
To a 12. Yeah, to a 12. Perfect. Yes. So I'll add something a little bit extra there for you. So you can choose to clear any conditions you wish, including most beloved. Your next roll is taken with advantage. You may take something from your victim and add it to your personal quarters, or there are no long-term consequences for your actions. So what are the 2 that you choose?
I'm gonna take there are no long-term consequences for my actions.
Perfect.
And I'm
God's
going to
favorite
take
prince.
And because I have trinkets and everything anyway included, can you please specify what is the condition most beloved? I mean, what does that entail?
So that is a condition that you get with the Gilded Door. If you mark the Gilded Door, that is a permanent condition that you cannot remove except for using this move or other means.
Okay. So, no, that's not a thing that I would use. I would choose your... You may take something from your victim and add to your personal quarters.
Perfect. Go ahead and you
Add
can
to my
let us know what that is. Yeah, to add to your collection. As we see, as y'all are talking amongst yourself, there's a crash of bowling pins, and then you can hear gasps and like whistles and other things. As you all start making your way, you notice Ashok is standing, looking amused, as we can see through the curtains of the dancing through curtains that are kind of towards the back of the dancing platform, the dancing hall, past musicians. You see a completely nude Abigail Simpson, who is prostrated almost in a worshipping-like position in front of this massive crowd, and she is holding up a large, flawless pearl. You can add that to your clues. You get an extra clue for 12 plus here. As she screams out, "There is not any other one that I focus upon, no one that shall have my attention, than Ishak al-Shirazi, my true god. I curse this place and I curse the gardens upon it." And she spits on the ground, and people are shocked. And we see her father go, Abigail, no, take his coat off and start trying to cover her and like usher her away. The camera peels back from this group, and we will go to another place. The end of our journey, we arrive to a basement decorated to look like the deck of a ship, including a bright blue sky with puffy, fluffy clouds painted on it, all over the walls and ceilings. We can see the surviving crew of the HMS Chimera, all with knotted ropes and whips in their hands. As you can see, they are beating what appears to be a wooden ship wheel, a massive wooden ship wheel that is on its side and being spun, turned around. Latched to this ship wheel is the young officer that Miss Evans bumped into talking to the Vice Admiral before. As he is slowly rotating on this ship wheel, the other officers are chastising him as they're beating him with these whips. It appears to be a brutal hazing ritual, bringing him into their fold. Just past this group, we can see Admiral Flagg puffing on a pipe made of whalebone, ivory, and a little bit of painted flecks of gold into it. A mishmash, a chimeric combination. Enough! I believe the lad has had enough. He steps forward. He hands his pipe over. And we can see a young man. Bixby, the quartermaster, takes it from him. He's frail. And pockets it and holds it reverently. Boy, you seem to have passed the... Oh dear. He stoops down with a massive hand, grabs the boy's head and lifts it up. He lets go and the boy's head thunks against the wheel. Clearly dead. Seems it was too much for the lad, wouldn't you say, boys? And the rest of them laugh along with their Vice Admiral. All is fine. We shall find more. No worries. He claps once. Time to hit the galley. It's dinner. And as we pull back from this scene, we can hear them singing, "Heave ho, stars below, Chimera finds the way. Night falls and so we go, stargazing in the bay. Stars above and stars below, three heads will call us home. A sweeter milk we'll never know, but in our dreams will roam. And that is where we will end for today.
Amazing.
Oh, that was so good.
I know.
Excellent. You all did
Chills.
such a wonderful job. Wonderful job, all of you. We're seeing masks flying and we're investigating, we're collecting clues. I think we can pick up, so we'll pick up, so this is the end of the day phase. We'll go into the dawn phase, or the dusk phase, and we can determine, y'all have collected a number of clues. I'm going to add that pearl there to our clue list, so we can pick up with the next time of going through our dusk phase and seeing if we want to answer a question, and also if there are any masks, Janus masks that we need, because I know there's a prompt or two that we need to narrate. So that'll give you a week to kind of sit over and mull those over and get those written out, so you can share them with us when we start next week. Before we go, though, I want to go ahead and say thank you all. You did such a wonderful job, and thanks for playing such wonderful characters and really leaning into it. There was a lot of just like really leaning into the vibes and the themes and everything, and I had so much fun. It makes me so excited for next week and beyond. Before we go ahead and head out, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a debrief. It's called Stars, Wishes, and Feelings. We can go around and go ahead and give a star, something that you really enjoyed from this session, and then go ahead and give a wish, something that you want to see happen next week, or something that you want to explore next week, and then a feeling, just kind of letting us know how you feel at the end of this session, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, a star for sure is the narration and Miss Evans. The whole Miss Evans is just in the character so perfectly, and your narration has been amazing. Komi's narration has been amazing, and Ishak's narration has been amazing of what they are doing, what they want to do, and yeah, I loved it.
I think I loved how extreme games it became. Like a lot of things just, from the beginning, the tempo just started to slowly increase with this tension. And oh God, that was like Ishak. Oh my God, Ishak's whole thing of really leading into the character was so intense. At one moment, I thought I couldn't close my mouth anymore because I was just gaping at what was going to happen next. And the same with like the idea that like if if Theo goes down, we're saying bye bye to Miss Evans as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a tense role. And that just like really highlighted the Janus mask even more. I kept away from using it this session, but I thoroughly enjoyed each of your Janus masks, and I loved the situation you were forced into like use it as well, And yeah, like I love the intensity of this game, and I want to see more. I can't wait to see our fish creature next session.
I really want to run this game now.
Yeah,
it's
me
like
too.
it's very cool.
That's the goal. That's the goal every time I run this game, where I'm like, no matter how long we play it, I want you to run it for other people. It's like a virus, it spreads, and then we have more people playing it.
Yeah, I do love how it encourages you to have dangerous situations while also being quite like, like thoughtful about what you're getting yourself into.
I would say I really love how we all kind of gelled together with each other in terms of like even the GM, the keeper was very efficient on like keeping us on track, and then the whole story was the pace was very nice. And I was expecting that we will end the day session in the first session and the night one in the next session, and it happened like that itself. And it's a quality that as a DM myself, I really want to run, like not get distracted by things, but at the same time like giving player chance to explore, but at the same time also explore the story that you have for them in front of them. And then also the point that whatever we are doing, how you're utilizing that, and then coming up with the scenarios, like the whole thing where again the shark scene was very intense, and I didn't know how how uh, twisted it and like presented it in such a way that it was part of the story. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, that was like one great thing about this game is that we all are so gelled up with each other now in this
Yeah.
just one session.
Like it was so intense because even though we were all off doing our separate things and having every moment to ourselves, like Wes, really you were able to like really switch those scenes together like we were watching a movie or a serial, and still hyper focusing on a point but leaving aside a little for you to want to get back there while still being present in the scene that you're playing. It was I mean, very few games have happened where you are just like enamored by everybody else just playing out their part and seeing what happens and like just waiting for a hint of a clue anywhere you get it. Oh gosh, like yeah, that intensity was, and oh my gosh, like you brought in, I think, our first scare with like Miss Simpson disappearing into the garden, and it was so subtle because it was just a scream fading away, but it still really ramped up the sort of danger we could be in. I'm terrified of what's going to happen at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously like all the narrations, everyone like you said, A plus. Uh, my wish, which I think like Wes he would grant anyway, is to turn things up to 11 or 12
11. Oh yeah,
or 13.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
14.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Why stop at 14? We can go to 16. We can go. Yeah.
666.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man, it's good. It's good.
Oh,
Excellent.
For the wish, I say for my wish is that I really want to use more masks and
Same.
yeah, I want to see everyone use more masks. And
Oh,
like
don't worry,
kind
I'm
of
going to use it with every role.
yeah,
Speedrun.
and then
People in the
I-
comments are like speedrunning masks.
yeah, and like kind of explore everyone's backstory a little more, and my own backstory itself. So yeah, that's my wish for the next session, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I just want to also shout out to the wonderful people in chat who have like kept it really alive the whole
Oh,
like
hell
Yeah.
yeah.
over 3 hours, but like really have like been there just replying, following this with us. Like I haven't been able to reply to any of it, but it's just so amazing watching the amount of like excitement in the comment section.
I also can't
Yeah.
wait for the vulnerability move. Excited for that also.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Mhm.
I would say a wish would be more interactions between hunters. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I know this was a lot of setup for the first session, definitely, and that's why I'm excited to see it in the second session. But I'm really excited for us to like. I think we've been so like it's been very fun being secretive because the whole mass moments really seem a lot more dangerous at that time. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to like you said, Kush, to have those vulnerable moves and like just like get a little. I want my bottle of tears to be filled up by the end of the next session.
Absolutely. I just want to say, like, yeah, star. I'm going to take one single star and split it up. Amon, your willingness. The reason why I love these games so much, CFB, is because your health. You don't have health. You've got conditions that you can play on and everything like that, but you've got your backstory is your health. The masks that you put on, that is your HP, and that it doesn't feel like you're just changing a number. We're getting something because of it. We're getting these little backstory nuggets. So really good job on those. Mon, I really love the vibe that you bring with Miss Evans and the very like perfunctory, like no nonsense. And like we always like I'm currently playing a fat totem who is the employed by the undeniable in our game, and he's like a rough and tumble Australian guy, and he like doesn't take anybody's shit except for his employer, where he's like doting and falls over and like worships, treats them like a god. And so it's always really nice and refreshing to see a factotum that's like, no, actually I'm going to chastise you, and I'm going to make sure that you stay focused and everything. And like it's really cool and really refreshing, and I like seeing that. And I can't wait. I want to see more masks. We're definitely in the night phase. I'm going to be having y'all roll, especially because like we don't have to do as much setup. Is like I'm going to be having y'all roll a lot during that. There's going to be stuff popping off left and right, depending on what y'all do. And then I wanted to say for Kush, the scene with Theo, there's such like a. People bring a lot of like a Geralt energy to the legacy, because that's like The Witcher. It's kind of like that kind of vibe almost, or like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's like this is like I like Theo. I like when you asked, you're like, can I give Theo a grimoire instead of a bladed weapon? I was like, absolutely. I was like, yeah, let's do that. And how you're approaching things with Theo, and you're just like, yeah, I want to do drugs. I want to stick my finger in something and see how it tastes. I'm going to like utilize this flirtatious conversation with this artist on a beach for my own ends. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff that are really playing out, and I'm really digging that. And then Kumi, Kala is such a delight, and like your wonderment and like sense of just like interrogation. But it's never just like an interrogation, but you're just like, I want to talk with people, and I want to learn more about you, and I want to learn as much as what goes into that. And it's very cool. It's such a different y'all are all doing such different takes on these characters that I love, that on these playbooks that I don't usually see. It's not every day that I see a bright, cheery, and happy, like very positive vessel. Typically they're very gothic, and I liked how there was a nice juxtaposition where I was like, and in the darkest part of the house where there's no light, and you're like, and she's wearing a sailor outfit, and there's a red ribbon, and I'm like, perfect. And then your interaction with Greco of like this whole challenge, and like you rolling with having a condition but leaning into it, and like very much just kind of like digging into like having this kind of mental back and forth with Greco, to where the point of like you framed it in a way that like Greco's like, let me like, there doesn't need to be a challenge. Like, I have found somebody that is worthy of sharing my gift with and sharing my experiences with. And like, there's something that's new that's coming with the new edition for the backer kit for this game. Is that we have side characters as rewards, which that was a thing before, but now we have like a full, like, it's almost like a mini thread. It's a side quest that you have these experiences with Greco. And since you interacted with Greco, I just kind of threw that purple tint out there, and you went in. But since y'all interacted, if y'all complete this, y'all can unlock Greco as a recurring side character, and you can interact with him and build and learn more about Greco and his backstory, and then also learn a skill which involves dream walking, which is a very cool thing. And I don't mind sharing that out. Like, that's something that's like coming with like the new backer kit that is like, I'm so stoked about, because like there's been so many changes that are being made to this game already that like we're getting to tease a little bit, but there's nothing really official. And that Greco is that's official out for like Patreon members, but like it's just a lot of cool stuff that's happening, and I'm so stoked. I'm feeling great, and my wish is I want more masks. I want more. I want more risks. I want, I'm like Miss Frizzle with this. I want to take risks and get messy with it. But yeah, thank y'all so much for having me. This is great.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, anyone want to do any shout outs to anything? One shout out definitely is do support the Between on backer kit. They're going to be like, I think, opening up with support in a couple of, about 20 days. If I'm,
it's 33 days.
33
You've got
days.
33 days so I'm going to drop a link. Mark your calendars, and there's going to be so many like rewards and side things, and we've got so many cool stretch goals. My own game Unsinkable is going to be made available as like a supplement to it, so I'm very excited.
And Additionally to that, do go on to the Gauntlet Discord server as well. You will find other keepers like Wes there, and you can possibly get to play with Wes as well, if they have any game open. But it's a wonderful community, honestly. Like, I've been following like the different channels for over a year. I haven't indulged yet, but it's only been because of like time zones. So thank you so much for Wes. Thank you so much for making time for us and really playing this game with us. And like,
absolutely.
And like Wes might be here on TPK for the first time, but they have like a fantastic stream of their own with a lot of different adventures. Do check out their website. There's a link to that as well below. And like, please go check them out. Like I really wanted to be completely like just like surprised for anything that happened in the session, so I haven't indulged yet in your streams. But like after this, I really do want to go watch the Half-Blood one because I enjoy Percy Jackson as well. Apart from that, a shout out to Aman. Thank you so much. Like, this is the first time I've played with you, and like I do see where you being a keeper in Call of Cthulhu games, how that has influenced a lot of the sort of terror and horror you bring with very seemingly mundane scenes. So I'm very excited to play the Call of Cthulhu game with you as well. And I do know that...
Andala.
Yeah, and like Andala Obscura as well. Like, I do know that you have a Call of Cthulhu game, I think, coming out soon on Pantless Tables.
Pantless Tables. It's gonna go on every Sunday of October, which is also going to include an October the 13th. Unfortunately, not on a Friday, but I digress. So it's going to be a 4-part Call of Cthulhu series set in my homebrew world of Ispatpur, which is a campaign setting that I'm writing. And it's also officially supported by Chaosium, so we'll be giving away 4 starter sets of 4 Call of Cthulhu starter sets to lucky winners.
Yeah, I'm so jealous that I can't join. But yeah, it's fantastic. And also, like, Aman is an award-winning podcaster now. And like the Crit Awards did award the Infinite Tavern, Aman along with Anurag, the title of Best Podcast Hosts. And like, definitely go and check out the Infinite Tavern. They started by interviewing like so many like Indian TTRPG creators, and now have even gone beyond that. There's like some fantastic new podcast episodes out as well. I'm going to just say like that one of them is mine. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun talking to Aman and Anurag. But I think the Stormlight TTRPG is one that you covered as well recently, right?
Yeah. So we had Brotherwise Games on our podcast. So that's another, and we have a few fun ones also in line. So just hold on to that. We'll putting that through. And we always joke on the podcast that, hey, we are your favorite host. Now it's actually, we are. I won't take up much of the spot here. Thank you so much for having me.
And a shout out to my lovely TPK members as well. Mon has done all the art for this, definitely. Please go commission the Translucent Tiefling. I've been putting this everywhere I can today, but like this work that you see in like our little trailer was done in like 2 to 4 days. And like Mon really like just, joined us for that session 0 and made this. And it's just so, it like fits our characters so well. And it's just fantastic to see. And like, I'm also going to shout out to Kush because Kush never promotes himself, but Kush does have this wonderful little TTRPG adventure for you to try out. It's called Wild in Moonlight. There's a lot of twists and turns in it and some very interesting NPCs. If you ever come to the TPK like server, we have like a lot of different DMs who are up for running it all the time. But if you want to run it yourself, please go buy it on Drive-Thru RPG.
On DM's Guild.
On DM's Guild, okay. I just want to make sure. But yeah, like everyone's been amazing. Please check them out. And thank you to our audience for staying here. We're excited to have like the Dusk adventure with you.
Lovely to have all of you on the chat. It's been great. And yeah, just the usual YouTube plug. If you like the video, like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe. That's standard stuff.
And if you want to learn how to
Great.
play the in between, apart from watching us play it, do check out the episode that we had last week on how to play the between with its creator Jason Cordova. So like that was a lot of fun as well.
Wow.
We had a little Brindlewood based stint last year, and it's been fun to just play test every one of the Gauntlets games. So at
Yeah.
this, I am going
We're coming for you next public access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, sick. I love public access so much.
Well,
Excellent.
everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a good night, a good day, and don't get caught in the between. Bye, everyone.